Morning. Good morning, ma'am.
Very good morning, Rita ma'am. How are you?
I'm good. How are you, ma'am, today?
I'm doing great. So, I
Tell
am
me.
making you the host. Just a minute.
Sure. I'll be starting at sharp. I'll start at in about 4 minutes, 5 minutes
Yeah, yeah,
now. All right.
correct.
I just want to
Yes,
log in early so that there are no last minute glitches.
right.
Yeah.
Ma'am, you can see if you can share the screen, huh? I've made you the host.
Just a minute. I'll just try. Today I'm going to do a lot of activity. Otherwise, it becomes a one way thing.
No,
So
no, it is very good because that will keep people engaged, and the session
yes,
will be going in a positive direction also
positive direction.
before
Yes.
everybody sleeps. One way
No,
communication.
at 8:30 in the morning, you have to wake up people. So,
Yeah,
yeah. So uh, I'll just try this. This is my last week's PowerPoint.
yeah,
Yeah.
visible.
Sure. Thank you. Sure.
Thank you.
Have a nice day, ma'am.
You too, ma'am. Thank you. Bye bye.
Good morning.
Good morning, ma'am.
Morning, everyone. How are you? How are you, Payal?
I'm good, ma'am. How are you,
Payal,
ma'am?
I'm good. I'm good. Thank you. Had a very hectic day last evening and yesterday morning also. And I had a good time. But when I got to get back to work on Sunday morning, so here's to happy learning for the day. Right. Payal, where are you from?
Ma'am, basically, I am from West Bengal. I'm a Bengali, but I am settled right now in Hyderabad. My father retired from here. My father served the Air Force.
Okay. Acha.
And I keep on traveling. I recently got married in 2023. So my husband is in army. So
Wow,
I
congratulations.
keep moving here and there.
So
Thanks so much, ma'am.
you're posted in Hyderabad currently.
No, ma'am. He is posted in Meerut. He was actually posted in Ladakh. Now he is posted here. But I am working here in Hyderabad. So we are just keeping that track because, uh, I'm moving there. I'm coming here. So just managing for now. We will sort out things after some time.
Oh, very nice. Very good. Long distance.
Yes,
Good
ma'am.
for you. Okay.
Thank,
And what are you
thank you.
doing? Since say you're working, what do you do?
Yes, I am into HR operations, ma'am. I have like 5 years of experience now,
Mm-hmm.
overall. So I have been
Okay.
working with DuPont first for 3 years. There I started training as well. Here I am an official trainer as well as I train the APAC region for hiring process.
Mm-hmm.
And apart from that, I am into operations, basically HR operations completely. So right now I'm working with Electronic Arts, which is EA Games,
Mm-hmm.
which is a gaming company. So I work there.
Okay, that's very interesting. So then today's session on using electronic tools for training, I think you would be able to throw some light on that.
Sure, ma'am.
Yes, we would
Yes,
love
ma'am.
to hear from you because today I want to I want to give the platform to all of you. It's going to be a long day, and otherwise everyone will snooze. But more than snoozing, there is so much talent on the other side. It's not fair that I make you cram all the information that I'm giving. Therefore, Payal, we'd love to hear from you
Sure,
and would
ma'am.
and would want your inputs on how to make online training more effective. So if you can even make a couple of PowerPoints and show us what you do, would be very happy. And I'm sure
Sure,
everyone
ma'am.
will. Yes,
Sure, ma'am.
around
Okay,
at
ma'am.
2 o'clock today. So thank
Okay,
you.
ma'am. Sure.
How nice, how nice. Who else is around? I can see that Mr. Priyank Patel has been there since 8:15. Am I right? Morning, Priyank.
Yes. Yes. Good morning, ma'am. Yeah.
Good morning. How are you? In the morning, I think there was only you and I
Yeah. Yeah.
before we started. So where
Yes.
are you, Mr. Priyank?
I am from Ahmedabad, Gujarat.
Oh, okay. Uh,
Yeah.
and what are you doing?
I am associated with one of the Swedish multinational company, which is called Alima India Private Limited. This company was formerly known as Sandvik Materials. It's a group of Sandvik group company. And I am functioning as a manager HR. I mainly takes care of recruitment, compliances, performance management. And I recently started looking after T&D activities.
Okay.
So yeah,
How
that's all
nice.
about, yeah.
How much of TND is done in
Uh,
the
in the previous year, I was part of the DN activities. I was also part of framing of training calendar, where we have
okay.
developed certain practices at our plant premises.
Mm-hmm.
So I can say 30% of my role would be into TNT, and in going forward, I would be contributing much more. Yeah,
All right. And that's
yeah,
why you decided to take up TND,
yes,
as a qualification.
yes,
Oh,
yeah,
congrats, congrats. Thank you.
yeah.
And would love to hear from you. In fact, we'll start with something now. Let's see
Sure,
how that goes with people. And
yeah,
please hang on there.
yeah, yeah, sure, sure,
Thanks.
sure.
Have a nice day.
Yeah.
I can see that there's Mr. Mahesh, Sneha Masurkar, Mr. Rahul Kumar, Radhika Pendarkar, as usual, always there on time. Ms. Rupali Yadav. How are you, ma'am? Rupali? Okay, then there's Mahesh David. Aditi Singh.
Yeah, good morning, ma'am. Mahesh
Good
here.
morning, Mahesh. Good morning.
Yeah.
How are you, Mahesh?
I'm going fine, ma'am.
How are you? Mahesh, where are you?
Madam, I'm working with IDBI Bank
Okay.
at Bhopal, and I'm currently heading the training center over there. So I'm
Okay.
mostly into training of the staff over here and on various aspects of banking.
Oh, that's very, very, niche and interesting. And how, when you're saying IDBI, the entire IDBI all over India, or the,
Yeah, I'm working
MP
with
region.
IDBI Bank. I'm an officer, a DGM working in IDBI Bank, and
Okay.
at present I'm posted at Bhopal, and I'm looking after the Bhopal zone, which consists of four regions, that is Indore, Bhopal, Gwalior, and Jabalpur. We've got around 700 staff over here who, on rotation basis, are coming to the training center for training
What
on various
kind of
aspects of bank.
training? What kind of training do
But
you?
various functional trainings we are giving
Okay.
on various aspects. Like for branch heads, there are different types of trainings. For the asset officers who are doing giving loans and advances, for them their training is different. People who are at the front office, that training is different. Sometimes customer service trainings is given. Sometimes trainings in say motivational trainings are also given.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And do you also do training? Do you conduct training programs?
Yeah, I am conducting the training, madam. I'm
You
one
conduct.
of the facilitators also.
Oh, okay. And otherwise, where do you get your facilitators from? They're all part of
Of the
IDBI,
bank only. Of the bank only. Yeah.
internal trainers.
Yeah.
Oh, then that means you put in a lot of effort to develop training skills also.
Correct. Yes,
Right.
yes, yes.
It's interesting. And why am I sitting and talking over here when I have such experts there on the other side? This is what happens with online classes, when you don't get to interact with people, and when you just see names on the screen, you feel that everyone is just hogging. People are actually,
No, madam,
uh,
but we are getting a lot of inputs over here through the program to develop more in this field and to
mhm,
how to design various programs for the participants. So I'm
mhm.
getting good inputs over here. So it's really helping a lot.
Thank you. That's the beauty of the ISTD program, actually, where it's been so well designed, and the curriculum is pretty vast. There
Yes.
is so much to learn on every training method. In fact, for me too, I'm going deeper and deeper. When you ask questions, it makes me actually go and study, and it's very inside, very engaging. A lot of what we are learning is based on in psychology, and
Yeah.
therefore it's very interesting because learner psychology is a big field, and
Correct.
in fact, uh, all of you should actually think of going in for your PhDs. If you haven't, I've not asked you, Mahesh, whether you are a PhD or whether you aren't.
No, no, not madam, not madam. No.
This is an area, learning itself is a vast and a deep area for
Madam, a PhD in what subject would you suggest?
PhD in HR
In HR.
management.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes, with learning this is yes.
Fine here. So I was looking forward for psychology because I have interest in psychology. So any suggestions on what kind of course I should go for, or should I go for a degree?
So if you go for a degree, now if you're an arts graduate, then you can, or anybody can go for
I
an
am a commerce graduate, ma'am.
MA
Then I have
psychology,
completed MBA. Yes.
MA psychology,
Okay.
right? Or alternatively, science grads can go for MSc psychology. Abroad, they give an MSc psychology.
Right.
And
Right.
I think there are some universities, even Hyderabad University is offering an MSc psychology.
Yes,
Or
ma'am.
Tata Institute. There
Actually,
are
in a
so
low
many other
climate, she's
institutes.
interacting with everybody.
Sorry? Sorry? Did someone say something? Hello?
I think, ma'am, they're talking.
Topic.
Sir,
Okay.
sorry.
Yeah. Why I'm interacting with everyone right now, there's a reason. And I'll tell you, I want to get to know all of you. We are going to be actually doing a session now And that is where I wanted to know everybody's background. So I'll just complete what I was telling Payal. So I said that there are also a lot of courses on psychology, short-term courses, such as counseling, mentoring, and you can go for a 6-month diploma, you can go for a 1-year diploma, also in psychology. But nothing like taking a master's in psychology if you have the time, right? So good morning, everyone. Good morning, everybody.
Good morning,
And
ma'am.
yeah,
Morning,
I
ma'am.
had a nice interaction with people. Yeah. Last week,
Good
we
morning, ma'am.
stopped. Good morning,
Good
Menu.
morning.
This is Deepa.
Yeah, ma'am, Deepa. Sorry
Deepa,
to
you have your
disturb you.
no, you have your hand raised. This is something that you want
Yeah,
to ask?
actually, you were discuss about some points, and also I had to just updated myself. Like recently, I completed. I have done this post training was there for three
Mm-hmm.
days. It was
Okay.
16, 17, and 18, and it
What
was
reading? Can you repeat?
post training, ma'am.
Posh training. Yes.
Yes,
Okay.
yes. ISTD has was from Hemlata ma'am has conducted that. Some facilitator was there. So
Okay.
the experience was very nice. Means like for the law of the about the posh, it was first time I attended. And
Mm-hmm.
first day, Darshana ma'am has uh, she was facilitator to tell about the law
Hmm.
on the law
Oh,
topic of the posh. But it was going upon a head because I had no any idea about that. But
okay.
second and third day, like you know very well about the Bajnath sir, Roy sir was there, Rahul
Okay.
Bose sir was there. So
Okay.
means how they designed their PPT and presentation and explanation, it was really awesome.
That's
Means,
very nice. I wish I
yes,
had attended too. But
yeah,
that's very nice.
yes, yes. But means like there was 26 people were there, and
Hmm.
all were like more experienced. Someone has 30 years, someone has 20 years. All people are like we have now a group also post runners.
Okay.
So yeah, I learned lots of things from there. And they conduct the exam also. Might be result will be declared on Monday.
Oh, there's an exam for that.
Yeah,
Okay.
it is for certification course
For
actually.
certification.
For the train the trainers like we
The
can say.
train, the train.
Yeah. So I want to like just everyone is asking to you about this. So ma'am, you know, as I'm a student right now, and earlier I have an experience of banking sector, private banking sector.
Okay. So
Like,
Deepa, what we'll do now, Deepa ma'am, uh, since we've already advanced into the session, I'll
okay,
talk
okay.
to you about this during the break time, if that's okay with you.
Okay, okay, no issue, ma'am.
Okay. So we'll talk to you
Some guidance
later.
I need from you.
By
I
now,
will
people
talk.
have joined. I can see a large group of, attendees now. And now, so today, uh, friends, the last time we stopped at idea generation. Am I right? Can someone, we stopped at idea generation. And there was something that we were doing there. And we said that we look at the next set a little later. Uh, with your permission, I'll now share the screen and let's look at where we stopped. I'm not going to do a, can you see the screen? Can you see the screen?
No, ma'am.
Yes, no,
No, ma'am.
no, no. Okay.
No.
Now can you see?
Yes,
Yes, ma'am.
yes.
Okay. Now this is the beginning slide. I'll go to the last one. Just a minute. Yep. Okay. We did not look at demonstration the last time. And today, for all purposes, we'll start off with the demonstration. Idea generation is something we looked at the last time. Yes or no, you tell me whether we looked at idea generation or whether we didn't. You'll just have to give me half a second to connect my headphones. Just half a second. Okay. Can you hear me now, everyone? And can someone talk?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, just
Yes, ma'am, we can hear you.
okay. All right. Uh, so first things first. Last week somebody asked me a question, and they said, "What about the laundry list as a training tool or as a brainstorming tool?" Am I right? Someone asked me a question, and I promised you that I will come back with my own research on the laundry list.
Good
And
morning, ma'am. It was,
good morning, Mr. Jugal Kishore.
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
I tried doing some research to find out how has the laundry list been, treated as a training tool. And honestly speaking, there is not much work done in that area. Yes, the internet speaks about the laundry list to a great extent, but it only speaks about the laundry list. How to make your, I mean, what is a laundry list?
Okay.
Ideally speaking, the laundry list is something uh, which you're actually making while you're doing laundry, or like you would say, list of chores or tasks to do while you're also doing something else. So, to my mind, it comes across as something like a by the way learning. So, when you're doing multiple things at the same time, right, then you are also doing this, you're also doing that, and you have things listed out. Not much done. And when I Googled, you'll find this little funny or maybe silly, but in most cases, it showed me pictures of washing machines and how to manage the laundry, right? So, to that effect, if there is something that you have studied, you are welcome to share with all of us.
So I think I have not studied anything about this, but yeah, maybe I think for the last couple of years, like whenever we are interacting with any of the leadership programs or
Ah,
maybe any workshops,
hmm,
so for the ideation and maybe I think for generating any ideas, the people
true.
start from there. So
Hmm,
whenever they are actually starting from a, let's say, a board kind of a thing, or maybe they are just asking us to give some sheets and then asking to
hmm,
put every point.
hmm,
So I'm sure I think they are just trying to collect the way you just explained that whatever
hmm,
task, whatever things like which are coming in your mind.
hmm.
So I think
Yes.
looking at that particular topic or maybe that problem statement, or while
Hmm,
defining that problem statement, they really want to touch upon the 360-degree aspects. They do not want to see
hmm,
just only one phase or maybe
hmm,
one side of the story.
hmm.
So that's how I think they just start preparing it. So the
Okay.
ultimate objective of those particular programs was to make it more and more crisper,
Hmm,
more sharpen in nature, I would say, so that
okay.
whatever insights, whatever inputs were coming,
Hmm,
they can actually, and I'm sure I think we can definitely relate the kind of a concept which you were teaching or maybe talking about, diverge and converge.
hmm.
So
Yes.
that sort of a thing, I think I could relate to it. But yeah, maybe I think from that terminology term, maybe per se, I just wanted to understand, or I was really curious to understand that whether it is actually a term which can be used formally basis of methodology, or it is just
Hmm.
only a colloquial term that we are using it. Okay, fine, prepare the laundry list, see that how we can prepare the task.
Yes. You've hit the nail on the head. It's actually now a colloquial term, and it's fast getting, into parlance with everyone. And in due course of time, somebody somewhere, maybe, maybe one of us itself can actually do. See, whenever a concept is built, for example, your round robin technique or so many others that we looked at, whenever a concept is built and is put into a study as a tool, it has to be validated. And then somebody takes it up as a full study, creates a model around it, conducts experiments, conducts research, and then for that to get accepted over a long period of time, it needs a lot of focus, and it needs multiple researchers to look at the same concept for a long time. And then it becomes, gets into your study material. So, to that effect, let's hope that in the next 20 years, somebody does a lot. I mean, people do a lot of research on the laundry list, and then it gets included instead of as a colloquial term into an authenticated training tool or a discussion tool or a task tool in management studies. All right. So I hope we start off with that. Maybe one of you can do that when you do your research. Now, today we have a long day ahead of us, and we have a lot that we may want to do and listen to. Why not start? Why not start a little concept I'll give you right now, and then why not have another proper focused discussion? And I'll tell you how do we do that. Alternately, uh, let's actually, instead of, because last week we did a discussion, I'll explain to you what is a focus group discussion. And then if we can have someone do a demonstration, because we are going to be looking at the demonstration as a tool. And today we are going to discuss the case study. So instead of discussing the case study as a training tool, let's actually discuss a case, or let's actually look at various topics on which you can build a case. How does that sound to you? How does that sound to you? Tell me. Tell me. Otherwise, I'll go into a spiel early morning, 8:30. You will have coffee and breakfast, and you'll get bored. So, right? Okay. Continuing from the last time, and this is important because although most of the people over here are from the training domain, this term called FGD, FGD, have you heard of it? And have you been using this at work or in your own training domain? Yes, no? Over to you, friends. I can see there are 30 people and I have to keep 30 engaged. That's my challenge.
Yes, ma'am, we have used it.
You have
Okay.
used it? Okay.
Yes.
Where have you used the FGD?
If I say talk about recent ones, the last one which we have done is during the Women's Day celebrations which we had in the office, where
Okay.
we had a separate celebration with the women's team, completely the complete EA women's team, and we conducted a session on the discussion basis on there were a few topics which have come in after discussions with the leadership panel who were sitting there, and there were very general topics like what women suffered, or after maternity leave when a woman come back, how the office should treat or the manager should treat. Those kind of topics were taken up, and we did use this focus group discussion method for that.
Okay. And I would like to know, why did you do this and what did you derive out of that? If someone also can contribute, please, over to you, friends.
Ma'am, my name is Rahul. Last I do FGD designing a program. We do CRTs and OJTs there, but we use that gamified training along with my business stakeholder. So there's a need of FGD comes that the person from sales and the person from marketing and the person from TND and the person from HR. Basically, HR and L&D, two other function in my organization. So they come in a table and discuss about that how it will help and how we can use it as a business tool.
Okay.
Along with L&D. So then we have a very good discussion about that in this FGD, and chalk out some points that it is helpful in some areas and it is not helpful in some areas, because every time reward can make people make the reward as a routine. So this is the part. This is the points come from different persons. But end is good, and we started this. So FGD got successful for me as a person from LND to organize this in my organization.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you. Congratulations, Mr. Rahul.
Thank you.
So you
Thank
were
you, ma'am.
able to get viewpoints from people and you were able to collect a lot of information, right?
Yes, sir.
Yes, yeah.
Yes, ma'am. Yes,
Okay.
ma'am.
Thank you for that. Thank you for that. And now look at this. Look at this. You said that you kept, I mean, that was Payal, right? Who spoke about how an FGD was used or, I mean, administered on Women's Day to get to understand women's issues or problems, or to also look at how you can ideally, I guess that is what was discussed in the on Women's Day function
Yes, yes,
celebrations,
yes, ma'am.
right? And in terms of how you can make women more productive, or there are so many issues with regard to women at the workplace. And
Right.
Rahul says that it was actually a cross-functional discussion between between function heads, and the topic there was reward as a routine, or reward as a routine with to get to find out how people view this entire this. It's very difficult to get heads of departments to sit down and discuss unless you compulsorily put them in a formal discussion. And I guess that is how the focused GD was able to help Mr. Rahul and his team. All right. If any of you are doing, yes, I can see that Leo Kolako. Over to you, Leo.
Yeah, good morning. Am I audible?
Morning.
Am I audible?
Yes, very. Everyone's waiting to
So
hear
first of
from
all,
you.
good morning, ma'am. It's a pleasure to hear you again. I'm coming into the session after a long time because I had been occupied with a couple of other things also.
Okay,
And so good morning to all my other colleagues also. Pleasure to be back with all of you. I just wanted to add a point over here from a slightly different perspective.
sure.
We have used FGDs even for TNAs.
Okay,
Uh, And see, the FGD, basically, I'll just share how we used it for a TNA.
okay.
There was the key issue was our sales staff were not focused on a particular series of products. Okay,
Hmm,
common problem, and easiest thing is they are not trained sufficiently. So let's kind of go the whole hog and train our staff, and let's do training, let's do training, let's do training. The big war cry started out.
hmm,
And there was a fundamental difference of opinion between the head of sales and the
hmm,
regional managers of a particular region
hmm.
as to
Okay,
what is required.
okay,
So
okay.
it was meeting with it was coming up with a block at implementation level from the regional managers level, whereas the
Mm-hmm.
head of sales wanted a particular topic to be going down the road. The
Okay.
regional manager said our people don't need that; they've already done that. So then what I decided was,
Hmm,
first we thought we would do a town hall, but
mm-hmm.
then it would have become too generic. Again, it would have
Hmm,
degenerated. So
hmm,
we called a focus group discussion with very specific people, uh, head of sales, two regional
mm-hmm.
managers, the HR team, our
Okay.
own training team, okay,
Mm-hmm.
two people from service, and also we included a couple of CROs, that is our customer representation officers.
Okay.
Okay,
Hmm,
and then when I was chairing this particular meeting, the focus was very, very clear that listen, come what may, we
hmm.
need to complete the training and get the results within the next 45 days. We
Okay.
don't have any opportunity for a larger turnaround time.
Hmm,
This product has to go out into the market, and we have to see the needle moving. We have to see differences.
hmm.
So
Okay.
basically, let us now focus on what are the elements that you want to look at over here. So
Okay.
in this, then we expanded it to bring some of the frontline staff in, and that's how we moved it in as a one of the elements of the TNA.
Okay.
This is one thing which we used it for. Thanks.
Excellent. And can we go one step further? I mean, I hope all the entire class is okay with this. We would like to know exactly how did you conduct this? If you can throw some light on exactly how did you do it? What kind of arrangement did you, and what
Yeah,
was the
sure.
duration?
Yeah, sure. So this didn't get solved in one day. As you can imagine, there was a lot of resistance to the idea itself because there were people who were coming from different opinions, and in the power hierarchy, the two regional managers are reporting to the head of sales. So they didn't want to challenge him. So that's how the whole thing came out, wherein I said we need to keep this very, very clear. See, the trouble is, in the earlier case, they were trying to fix who is wrong. I said, let's not fix who is wrong. We need to fix what is wrong.
Okay.
So
Okay.
there's a fundamental decision that you need to take when you're saying the difference between who is wrong and what is wrong. So when you're very, very clear that you want to fix what is wrong and then by when.
Okay.
So we went with, to borrow from Dr. Stephen Covey, we begin with the end in mind. So what's our end time? Because we were running against time. The product was, a good product. Everybody believed in it, but the conviction was not there.
Okay. Okay.
So
Okay.
basically, we had to build up the key problem was we had to build up the conviction and we had to build it up soon. The methodologies were what they were bickering about as to how we are going to do it. And because the methodology would come down to the trainer's implementation ability, that's where, we did not, as the training team, we did not want to take sides on any one particular methodology
Methodology of training.
because we needed to finally see the acceptance had to come from the sales team, not necessarily from the people saying yes, this is correct, but from the fact that we are seeing the product moving in the market.
Okay. Okay.
So the first end point was the NPS scores have to go up, okay,
Okay.
and the product numbers have to move.
Okay.
The accepted market share, because we had set very aggressive targets on that, and the market share had to go up.
Okay. Okay.
So, given that background, what we were looking at is first, come what may, this is a 45-day period in which the training will be done. Number two, at the end of 45 days, what is the monitoring that will be done? Number three, these were the discussions which came in within the FGD. Number three, for this monitoring, what do we need to strengthen? What do we need to shore up with regard to the line managers? Number four, for the line managers to become also semi coaches and day-to-day coaches in that same aspect. What elements do they need to concentrate on with their daily teaching or coaching with their team? Okay. So we're talking a very specific product-related area over here, and in that, there were certain elements of sales pitch and sales selling, which are selling skills, which were not being touched upon at all. So that became the focus of our discussion also, because the product cannot move forward on its own.
True. You have to sell it, and you have to have people develop those kind of skills to push the product into the market or pull
Yes,
the
ma'am.
customer. Yes.
Yes, ma'am. Now, coming to the second part of your question, where you asked how long did this continue, we originally, okay, so there's like, I'd just like to say sometimes there's like a fine line between having an FGD and having an SGA, a small group activity.
Okay.
So, while we kind of started out as an FGD, but it kind of moved into a small group activity. Of course, in an SGA, you don't have more than 6 people, 6 to 8 people normally. But here we had kept it at it was a slightly larger group. It was roughly around about 10 people, but we agreed to meet every Tuesday evening to see the progress.
Okay. So
So,
follow up.
yeah.
Continue.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So our FGD actually was for only 3 sessions, but as I said, we moved it into a kind of an activity where it was an every Tuesday reporting and success notation in that. Okay. But
Yes.
again, I'm reminding this is before the training. This is only to set the training need analysis only. We finally did the training by traditional methods.
Okay. But
This
this
was
is
only for the TNA.
To identify or to are you calling it a TNI or a TNE? Training needed?
TNI.
TNI. Okay.
Yeah,
Because when you
sure.
said thank you. Now, thanks a lot, Leo, for this contribution. Now, you have actually, what you just discussed and what you just gave us as an example is a case study. I mean, I hope you're getting well. This is for all my, for all the entire batch over here. This was an actual activity, an FGD activity, and then you said a small group activity that you conducted. In the later stage now, we are going to be talking about all of you would have to write a case, right, as part of your diploma process. You will have to write one case study during your dissertation once you have passed your exams. Now, this is an activity or this is an exercise which you can convert into a case study. You can actually write a case study of how you conducted focus group discussion in your organization. That would be, it would materialize beautifully into a step-by-step case study that you have written about an experiment or about an exercise that you conducted. This itself can turn into a small research paper on how to conduct a training need identification through a focus group discussion. My suggestion to you, Mr. Leo, and my suggestion to all the others who have done an FGD, you can take up any small exercise that all of you have done. I hope you get that, Mr. Leo. All right. So,
Thank you so much.
welcome. Welcome. My pleasure. Now, this is how you can analyze an activity that you have done. Coming back to the focus group discussion, since we've had such an extensive example, such excellent examples, I'm not going to go even deeper into that, but a few points from this I'm going to take and summarize the topic. One, we said, typically those of you who have done PhD, who would be doing PhDs, especially in marketing, would sometimes use the FGD as a research tool also to collect qualitative data. In most cases, people who do qualitative research in market research use the focus group discussion very extensively to get customer feedback. And here Leo says that he actually did it to get customer feel as well as HOD's feel and the marketing team's feel on what area to conduct training programs on. All right. So what you're actually doing is you're doing it in a very, very organized manner. You have to do a lot of prior preparation for that. I hope Leo agrees with me on that. You can't just make people sit down. First of all, you have to get a buy-in. And like we discussed earlier in the group discussion method, the general group discussion method, one of the biggest challenges in a discussion is getting people to open up and to talk. Leave alone having, divergent viewpoints. One wants that. But for getting people to open up about something and contribute their ideas and viewpoints, you have to get past the ego problem and communication barriers of people. I hope all of you agree with me on this. Right? So what are you doing? You're actually collecting a lot of this as a training tool. Now, in most cases, since we are talking about it as a research method or as a data collection method, when you're talking about an FGD as a training tool, what benefits does it have? What benefits does it have? Can I say that you can get people to develop their communication skills? Or can you get people to develop their interpersonal skills and the ability to function in a group? Right? Okay. So that's where we were talking about the uh, uh, FGD. Any points, any questions before I close this one? And yes, Jugal. Yes, Mr. Jugal, you raised a hand.
Yeah, ma'am. So, ma'am, I think the case study or maybe whatever use case we were discussing with Leo, and I think Leo is, shared. That is really a great one. But I also wanted to understand. I think if I really talk about the kind of an environment where I'm working, so basically I'm working with the service partners. So I represent my organizations and actually managing the training delivery for the service partners.
Okay.
And if I really talk about the kind of people to be covered every month, it is really on a huge side. So I just wanted to understand, maybe I think first thing with from Leo, that when he was actually trying to design this TNI, and I think maybe sub questions attached to it, because I think we also covered this topic, the TNI and the TNA, where you were
And
coming very specifically that was it a TNA or was it a TNI? But
okay.
somehow I think people still have a confusion that how should we actually define if we say that okay, TNA comes first and the TNI comes later, or TNI comes first, or the TNA is a complete approach or the research kind of a thing. So I think I also wanted to understand from you that how should we define, or is there any thin line, or maybe it is a cumulative activity or a parallel activity that needs to be performed?
So you want to know the difference between a TNI and a TNA.
Correct.
Is that
That will definitely be there. But before that, I just wanted to understand from Leo that what was the population that he wanted to cover from that particular exercise? Because normally what happens, like whenever you really want to do a FGD, so in my ecosystem, what happens, let's say, if we have business KPI, let's say if there is a customer satisfaction kind of a L0 metric, now it is customer driven kind of a thing.
okay?
So what I can do, I can train my agents on certain aspects. So basically a product training or a process training or an application training, so that they can provide that sort of an information which customers are looking forward to have as a part of resolution.
All right. So, Jugal, what I would suggest for the sake of the remaining 28 people in the class, since we
Mm,
have limited time with regard to covering
sure,
the
sure.
content, may I request that this discussion be conducted separately, maybe during break time, or once we have covered this, we'll keep aside around 5 to 10 minutes to follow up on this particular case that you're talking about, the
Sure, sure.
FGD.
You
Would
can,
you
you
mind
can.
that? Yeah. Okay.
No, no,
Because
no
then
worries, no worries.
it would leave everyone else out of the discussion. Huh? And therefore,
Sure.
I hope you understand. All right.
Yeah,
Okay.
please.
Yes. Now, this is something that I am very passionate about, and something that we can do on a normal basis. And that's what we are talking about when I say the case study method, of as a training tool. Now, what is a case? What is a case study? Over to you, friends. What's a case study? Come on, let's. What is a case study? Or can I share a case with you? Can I show something on the screen? Now, this is something. This is a long case, and I'll stop sharing this screen just for 2 minutes. I would like everyone, whatever it is that you're doing, along with your laundry list, to go through this just for 2 minutes and to see what I want to show you. It's a long something. It's a lengthy case, ideally speaking. If I send this to you, uh, this is a short one. Can all of you read this? Can you see my screen?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
Yes.
ma'am.
Okay. I don't know whether I've already gotten you to read this one, but this is a small case on. Can someone read this for me? Can somebody read this for me? Yes, Rahul. You tell me how I should scroll it. You start reading.
Yes, ma'am. Uh, just scroll it upwards.
You
Hello.
can't see? We
Yes, I
start the
can see.
case. Yeah.
From the start, ma'am.
Yeah.
Yes. So Lakshmi Sinha was very happy to be promoted as a project manager in a large construction company. When she had joined as a management trainee through campus recruitment in an engineering college, because of her brilliance and quick learning ability, Lakshmi had received several promotions. And now, as senior manager, she was looking forward to reporting to her new boss and taking on an independent project. However, when she started reporting to Mr. Ramachandran, Senior Vice President Projects, who was overseeing all the new projects, she started feeling ignored and could see that he was paying more attention to the male project members. Three new projects were handed out
to her male colleagues, who were also deputed for the training specially organized at the reputed Project Management Academy. Lakshmi got to know about the training when the other project manager were away for the training,
Away
training
for the
twice,
training, full stop, the full stop after.
away for the training. Twice, Lakshmi approached Mr. Ramachandra asking for the guidelines on what she can do further and what about wanting to work on an independent project. But she was told that she would be called, but it never happened. Mr. Ramachandra was traveling most of the time. After 8 months of receiving no communication and feedback, Lakshmi was beginning to feel at the loss. She dreaded waking up every day and hated coming to work. She decided to approach Mr. Ramachandra the next day. The next morning, when she reached the office, she was told to Mr. Ramachandra on office and was told that she was failing and was being demoted. Her salary was also being reduced by a sizable amount. Lakshmi filed a lawsuit for discrimination and damages. She won the case and the company was asked to reimburse rupees 20 lakh as a compensation for emotional distress and economic damages. Question: what was the reason for the situation? Question: what issues you can identify in this situation? How could a good performance management system help avoid such situations?
Right. Thank you. Thank you so much. All right. Is everyone with me on this? Is everyone with me? What is this? What is this? Now over to all of you, friends. Can we um, discuss this? Can we discuss? Yes. What's happening over here? There is who are we talking about? And now I want everybody to participate. I'm not going to. Yes, Leo. Over to you, Leo.
Just a quick question, ma'am.
Yeah.
Are we now discussing this case or are we discussing this as a methodology?
No. Now, right now, for the next 5 minutes or even a little more than that, if you want to go ahead. Is everyone with us? I would suggest that now we discuss this case for the next 5 minutes. Let's not discuss it as a method. We'll see how it is as a method, but right now, let's discuss this one. Over to you. Look at Lakshmi Sinha, look at Mr. Ramachandran, and look at the questions. Uh, did everyone go through this case? I'm keeping the screen open.
Ma'am, could you please scroll down a bit?
Yeah.
Or just to see the questions.
You want to see the questions? Okay. What are the questions? There are 3 questions. What are the reasons for this particular situation? Question 2, what issues can you identify in this situation? Question 3, I have actually converted this into a performance management case study. And therefore, I'm asking a very, very, pointed question or a closed question that if we had a good performance management system, could we have helped avoid such a situation? However, I can see that the case also has a lot of elements about training. So if you want, you can also include the training, but I'm not saying anything right now. Over to all of you, friends. You can kindly discuss among yourselves. You can tell me whatever it is. And I hope you are taking down notes when you are talking. Over to you. Over to you. Come on, let's have some heat.
Miss Rita,
Yes.
the answer for the first question, what are the reasons for the situation? I would really think, that basically arises from the gender discrimination and bias basically exhibited by Mr. Ramachandran. So despite her qualification and track record, she was like sidelined. Maybe, that kind of affected her performance evaluation and demotion.
Okay. I'm not saying anything. Over to you, friends. Come on. Who would like to talk next?
There is
Can
one
I
more thing
add?
which is, yeah, please go ahead. I will add later.
No, go ahead.
Okay, thanks, Leo. One of the major points, if we see at the first line itself, it is mentioned as it is a construction company. So basically, construction companies or those manufacturing units usually have more of male dominance over there. So somehow, when they added Lakshmi Sinha in that role, ideally they should have thought in that area. I mean, basically, they should have not gone biased in that way. And if they have added her as or promoted her, definitely there will be certain things which qualities which she would have carried, and then she got promoted. However, because of the male dominance in that company or the situation or the manager plus one, which is Mr. Ramachandran, maybe because of his thought process, it led to certain issues, and then she was not taken even part of the training. So, because of all this mishappenings around, and because she was not being informed on lot of other aspects going around in the organization, which led to her demotion.
All right. So Payal has spoken. Come on, who else? Who else? I have so
Okay,
many
can I add?
people. Yes, please, please, please.
Okay, so thanks very much for this case, ma'am. There are, I just like to play the devil's advocate over here on both sides. It's very quick and easy to look at something as being a bias-driven thing. I worked largely in bias-driven organizations, unfortunately, in my past, and I've seen two, three things happen. Biases are not necessarily only gender-driven. They can be driven from any angle. They can be driven from a community basis. They can be driven from a common language basis. They can be driven from a minority basis. They can be driven from a religion basis. So biases are biases. They surface in different ways. And in that surfacing, we, kind of label them with different tags and color them with different natures. But biases are biases, and they're basically favoritism in some sort. Having said that, yes, there is distinctly an undertone of a deep bias over here against, let us say, Lakshmi Sinha in this case. However, I would like to ask, it is said that she is promoted on the basis of her brilliance. During that promotion, was there a proper analysis done or a case study, or a performance management system in place there or not? Otherwise, what happens is she might have been brilliant in a particular role at a particular level, but when she moved up during the next level, was she provided the inputs and the necessary training which was required for her to step into the new role? That's the first question that comes to my mind. So then, if you look at it, should there now have not been a process for her to step into the new role? Because the new role seems that she has been given a lot of responsibilities, and she has to be shoulder to shoulder with some other people who obviously would come with this thought process that, and it doesn't matter whether you're male or female, it would they would come with this thought process that, yeah, we have been over here handling this particular activity for the last 20 years, and this fresher, just because this person has come from some premier educational institute, what does he or she know about this particular activity? So these things are going to be there, as I would like to call them, among the old bandicoots, whichever way you look at it. So was she given the inputs? If not, there is a process failure over there where the performance management system would have been useful, because the performance management system should not be just a rating system. It should necessarily be a system which prepares you for the next role. So, in my understanding, that would have, kind of not prepared them to be ready for the next level, to move up to the next level. And that is also what should be focused on. So it's easy to look at this whole thing from a biased perspective, because that is how it is. That is how it is coming out. That is how it is surfacing. But is that the key role? Is that the key cause? Now, if you have a strong system and process in place which says for the next role, it doesn't matter who you are.
Okay.
You have to be ready with these competencies.
Thank you.
Then
Leo, for that. Thank you for that. I have Ankita. Payal has already spoken. Who else do you have here? Come on, come on. Deepali, would you like to give your viewpoints on this? Pragya, Deepa Tripathi, Ajay Vanere, Sneha. Yes, over to you. Yeah, Yogesh has raised his hand. Yogesh, over to you.
Yes, madam. I see this, considering this case study, what I understand is it's a complete, first of all, failure of the organization in their system and processes from the HR end itself. Okay, because if as Koleka also told that whether she was, reviewed properly when her, previous, this increments and promotion happened and all these things. But I feel that even whatever was there, but considering gender equality, considering this, even POS is not only for the female now, POS is for male as well. If you see that, POS is not just for, this one side. All right. So considering overall holistic overview of this case study, I believe that there is huge lot of lacuna in process management system of the organization, wherein HR has to upgrade their, overall system, so that wherever you are promoting the individual, how you are reviewing, even if you are demoting anybody, what is your system? There should be, even in any organization, if it is a organization, if I see it, it is a listed organization, so there should be something called PM. It is a performance management program, which is normally for the 3 months they used to conduct, and in these
Thank
3
you,
months,
thank you. So we are looking, we discuss who else. I can see that there is Ajay, there is Rahul, Ravi Kumar. Come on, at least two more people. Radhika, where are you today? Mahesh, what are your viewpoints? Can you express one point?
Yes, Mita. Yes, Miss Rita, this is Ravi here again.
Yes,
She
yes.
was never even given a chance to prove herself in this role, right? I mean, because there was a training that was organized from the reputed product management academy where she was not even shortlisted for it. So I mean, she was not even given a chance, and despite her efforts getting to her yes, I mean, getting to her manager, Mr. Ramachandran, he was like, yes, I mean, I would like get back to you. I would say, I mean, there was lack of communication.
Lack of communication. Okay, thank you, thank you. Last, Pratibha Singh. Thank you. Pratibha, you raised your hand, so we'll conclude with you. Yes.
Ma'am, I joined a bit late, so I have read half of the case study.
Whatever you read, you talk about. No problem.
So,
Yeah.
first of all, I'll tell you that whatever is mentioned about Lakshmi, she is a brilliant employee. So the first thing that is missing, that when she is transferred to a new role, the VP or the reporting boss, he has not gone through what she is doing best at, so that he could have allocated her a role accordingly, which she would have done with efficiency, and later on she would have given more new roles. Secondly, if she was such brilliant, then it's a total waste of resource if she is being overlooked upon. And thirdly, it is not good for the organization, as the employee is being drained. Now the feeling for work and that motivation has gone. Now, even if he will look upon her, there is a probability that she won't be able to perform that way that she would have done earlier, according to me.
Thank you, Radhika. Sorry, I can't. I'll come to you later, Radhika. I mean, you get your 5 points, but hang on there because I'll ask you to speak about something else. Thanks a
One
lot. Thanks. Yeah.
last point I would like to add.
Okay.
Was there a system of redressal of grievances in case she had some issue?
Okay. I'm stopping the case discussion here because I know that if we continue with this will go on for the next half an hour. And ideally speaking, that is how a case discussion should be. So congratulations to all of you. Sorry, those of you who did not get a chance to speak. I'll give you that. But may I know who just spoke about grievance redressal? Sir, your name? Who was it who just spoke about grievance redressal? Was it Jugal Kishore? Ajay. Okay, Ajay and Radhika. My question to now the others. Thank you for that lovely discussion. And if all of you will see your chat box, you'll see that while all of you were talking, I was writing down or noting down salient points of what each one of you were putting across. And there was an entire, if you'll see your chat, I don't know whether you're actually going to the chat box or not, but what was written over there, you spoke about bias, you spoke about grievance redressal, we spoke about gender sensitization. The male female thing came across very strongly. a lot of men say that it's not only about women, this can happen to men also. Mr. Ajay, are you there? Or Radhika? Can you summarize what was discussed? Would you like to make a quick synopsis of what everybody spoke about? Or please, over to you, sir. The points are there in the chat box. Or even Radhika can do that. Radhika,
Yes,
since, yeah.
so I think both sides were discussed over here. Some of them discussed from Lakshmi's side, some of them discussed from the management side as well. So I feel that from Lakshmi's side, people said that she was not given opportunity to take up the role, or maybe she was not given a chance to understand what would be her new responsibilities. Before that, only the management decided to sideline her. So that was few
That was
points then.
view.
Yeah,
The
from
points.
management side, I feel the HR there was no proper process, maybe from the HR side, that was defined for the duration of promotion. I believe most of the companies have certain tenure to be completed to push on to a next level. Um, for promotion, and I'm sure there is a reason why the tenure has been decided before getting into a next level. So I think all of those things were probably not well defined. That's the reason her manager was also not ready to accept her as in the new role. So
Okay.
these are the points that I feel.
Thank you. May I offer a big hand to everyone who participated and who also summarized, and congratulations to all of those who also couldn't get a chance to put in their points because we had limited time. But look at the beauty of this entire case discussion. How long was this? How long is this particular case or caselet that we are talking about over here? How long is this? 1 page, 1.5 page? What kind of a case is this? What kind of a case were we talking about? What was this? Over to you, friends. Come on. Okay. My question to all of you, did you enjoy the discussion? Did you enjoy?
Yes.
Did you enjoy? Okay.
Yes,
Why?
yes.
Why? Why did you enjoy?
We have lots of opinion. We have lots of cases. Even in within one case, we have multiple cases.
Okay. Within one case, you have multiple cases. You have multiple scenarios. Correct? Now,
Yes.
Also, I feel every company, some or the other people must have experienced this. So I think it's experienced based also, some of us.
also it's something that you feel is happening at your, around you, and you say, okay,
Right.
this relates with what I have experienced. Right? That's one.
This single situation has different angles to look from. Like it's not just a one perspective, it could be different.
Different
Like,
time.
yes,
Yes.
preconceived notions are number of time that is affecting the decision making. Might be this is preconceived notion that gender bias or something like this.
Okay. And what a heated discussion, and what a mature. Now, this is something which can evolve as a larger discussion based on the type of group that is participating. Now, for everyone in this particular class, since all of us have seen performance management systems, since all of us have looked at training, look at the various kinds of issues, and the major aspect that I could get from everyone was that as a process, HR had not done its homework with people upgradation. Now, where will you use something like this to train your people? My question to all of you, what are the major issues that came up? According to me, what came up as as large issues was gender. Yeah. Over to you. I'm not talking. Yes. Ajay.
Hello.
Who? I'm
Yeah,
waiting.
yeah, ma'am. Yeah. Like everyone said, there are so many issues, and training needs to be carried out on various aspects, which come out very, very clearly, both for the, I would say, the manager as well as the this Miss Lena, what name was
Lakshmi Sinha. Yes, Lakshmi Sinha. Yes. Okay.
how to get the work done. And
How? Yeah. Is your voice
the lack
breaking?
of that course on communication.
Okay. You could use it on a course.
Is it okay, ma'am, now?
Yes, it's okay. It's okay. Continue.
So leadership courses, the communication courses, and also the biases.
Okay. Okay. I think the voice is breaking.
If you want to organize.
All right. Yes. Thank you.
And
Thank you. Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, thank you. Because what you can do is you can actually write down everything in the chat box so that all of us can, get what you're saying. Write it in the chat box. Ankita, yes, over to you.
Ma'am, I think this can be used as a very good case for HR training and
Okay.
for manager trainings. You know, when you're training people to get into manager role, what kind of things to do and what kind of things to not do. So this could be a very good case study for managers to say that this is the kind of behavior, and for HR to say that these are certain kind of things that you should keep in mind when you're looking at the performance management process.
Thank you. Thank you. Excellent. Excellent. Does anyone want to add a little more? How else would you treat this? How else? That's very nice. So one you said for leadership and for HR. Yes. Yeah.
Sorry. Yeah, I was saying like trainings in terms of training the managers for equal opportunities, giving the equal opportunities to everyone, and then for gender discrimination that they don't end up doing this. Then I see it as receptivity and acceptance problem as well. That that the person was not able to even give a chance, right? The person should be able to understand, no matter what community, no matter what gender the person has, that I need to give a chance, even if I don't know the performance of this person, right? So that receptivity is not there. And that can also be like, sometimes what happens is that one person gets promoted in one department, the other person doesn't know about it, any performance, and the person is not ready to give any chance to that person. So I have seen this issue very closely. So receptivity was, I mean, that could be that one thing. Then from the Lakshmi side, I would say that what can she do? How can we enable her that she can, she should be able to convince that person that why is she not given that, opportunity. So something from her side that,
Definitely. From the point of view of assertive skills training and, to and fro discussion, review discussions. Very well said. Very well said. Uh, thank you, friends. A little bit of concept with regard to case study, a little bit of talk from my end. Now, what you just did, what we all just did was a discussion, a case study discussion, and see the maturity levels that it has gone to, because we have a set of highly experienced expert HR professionals who are discussing this case study. If we had put this in another group with a different kind of experience, this case discussion would have also looked at it from their point of view. What is a case study? What is a case study? For us to understand it as a learning tool. Ideally, a case study is, it's a research. It's an actual real-time research about, let's say, a scenario, or about a happening, about an event, or about a syndrome that it has happened or that is going on in an organization. So typically when an organization has done something good, has completed a good process, or has done a pilot study, or let's say done a project, and they want to showcase that, just like we spoke to Mr. Leo. He told us about how he conducted a focus group discussion to identify training training needs of the marketing team. Now, what a beautiful topic to write a case study so that people in the training domain can learn or can discuss his case study and learn from that on how to do TNI through focus group discussions. And if that is written down, others can learn from it. And that is exactly what a case study is. A lot of research has been done on the case study method. And one person who has done is Yin. You'll find a lot of literature on the internet. Yin says that it is a contemporary phenomenon, or it's an in-depth research about something that was done, which can be brought into the classroom. Now, why use the case study and not go to the lecture method? At least in teaching sciences or in pedagogy, it is believed and it is felt, and I don't think I'm wrong, that instead of using the lecture, which can become very, very boring, if you bring in a case study, it throws the learning and the responsibility of learning onto the learners. And learning happens by discussing and not by listening to the lecturer. So one way I can sit down here and tell you, friends, my dear friends, what is a case study and this is how it is. But if all of you collectively sit down and discuss what is a case study, how can it be developed into a beautiful learning tool, then the learning will be more robust in all of our minds. And that's where the case study method comes in. Needless to say, all of you would have used the case study in your teaching, wherever it is, especially if all of you have done on your management, all of you would have learned through the case study method. All right. How many of you have learned through the case study method in your management studies or in your studies? Can you raise your hands, or would you like to share your? Yes, you have Rio. I can see that Payal has used the case study. Management institutes use the case study method extensively. And on a lighter note, I would say that it gives a lot of space to the teacher to not talk and to stay voice. But more than anything, it engages the learners. People today don't want to listen. Do you agree with me on that? Ajay, one area has also raised his hand. Yes. Now, how can you use that in training? That's one which we look at. And what kinds of case studies do you have? That's also something that, okay, friends, tell me when it is going to be break time. Should we be taking a break at 11 o'clock? Is that how our class goes? Yes. Right? Okay. Ideally speaking, when you use a case study in a class or in a training forum, the facilitator is not supposed to talk at all. And in an ideal case study discussion scenario, you should be giving the case to the participants, if not 1 week in advance, at least 24 hours in advance. I'm guilty of not having given you the case at least even 8 hours earlier. If I'd sent it to you yesterday or even last night, maybe you would have got the time to study it, to make your notes, and to bring back very valid points into the class and your discussion. And when you do something like that, people really love talking. And then people come with points. I've seen people making, a small case of about 1 page, but you'll see the notes that people have made run into 3 pages, which means people have done their homework. Now, you can either have a single case study or you can have multiple case studies. What is a single case study? Let's look at what is a single case study. What you just had was actually a caselet, not a very big case study. After I have discussed the different types of cases, I'll share with you, I'll show you what can be a long case study. Okay. But a single case study is one experiment that you did, something that you wanted to test out, something that you wanted to validate. Okay, maybe you wanted to check a particular theory. You wanted to see whether the theory of gender sentence of male versus female, or whether Women's Day is a valid thing at all. And therefore, Payal decided to have a group discussion or in her company. Now that is something that she would convert into a case. What do you say when you say multiple case studies? Suppose you have conducted a series of tests in your organization. Point in fact over here, let's say, is do all of you do competency mapping in your company, in your department, if you've done a competency mapping exercise? And for that, you have done a pilot and you have done a series of competency mapping exercises, one after the other. Or maybe you have done a competency mapping exercise in different departments in your company. Now you have separate results for each of these competency mapping exercises, and you want to compile all of them together. You want to show the results of each of these. In some competency exercises, it worked well for you, and in some other department, maybe the accounts department was not ready to accept your competency mapping study, and therefore you got a lot of challenges over there. All of those together, if you want to compile as comparative study, you may also put a multiple case study with comparisons, part 1, part 2, part 3, or level 1, level 2, level 3, where you're looking at it in different directions. And you're trying to create an actual competency framework in your organization. Correct? Similarly, you're trying to create a training framework in your company, or you're also trying to create a certain set of training programs, and you want to do a pre and post. You want to conduct a survey of what are people's training needs before conducting the training. That would be a pre-analysis. And then you conduct the training program. Post the training, you again conduct your analysis to find out whether the training had a good outcome. And you're writing a case study of a pre and post exercise, how it was conducted, and what were the elements of the training, and what were the learning outcomes. What a beautiful case study that would turn into as a comparative or as a pre and post method. So you're creating an entire training framework. That's why you're looking at single case study and multiple case studies. All right. Now, I'm not going to talk over here. Tell me, if you had to conduct a case study. I deliberately closed the slide because the minute we go into a slide presentation, everybody snoozes. And therefore, what would you need? What skills would you need to become one? There are 2 points that I'm putting across over here. To become a good facilitator for a case study discussion. That's one. So that's the first part that I'd like all of you to comment on. And part 2, to write a good case study. We already discussed, okay, there are 3 parts over here. Number 1, to be a case study facilitator. Number 2, to be a good person to discuss a case study. And number 3, to write a case study. So over to you, friends. What skills would you need to be a good facilitator to conduct a group discussion, a case study? Over to you.
Ma'am, Rahul this side.
Yeah, Rahul.
I think being a good researcher, yeah, good facilitator in case study, you have to have some questioning skill, better questioning skill.
Okay.
Where you can inquire the things, what are the things in the case having there. And if you are writing a case and case study, or the part of writing, You have
Okay.
to knowledge about the scenario and the organization where it is this case is happening,
Okay.
and also
Okay.
you need to know about the case approach.
Hmm. Okay.
I
Okay.
think these are things.
Okay. So you said approach, you need to be a good questioner, you have a good inquiry skills. Over to you, Ravi Kumar,
Yes.
and then Deepali.
The
Yes.
thing is, communication. So how well you're able to communicate the case study and
Okay.
active listening. So that is something very important. And you should also supposed to have a facilitation techniques, like how's familiar with you. Conducting, may it be like in terms of role plays, or how actively you can like engage them through brainstorming. And
Oh.
the last thing I would say, time management is also something very important.
Very true. Very, very true. Can you elaborate on the time management thing? What exactly would you mean when you
So,
say managing time? Yeah.
ensure all the key points are covered within the allotted time frames. So, the all the parameters of that particular case study have to be formulated in that particular time frame as the time management.
Okay.
How we are able to extract all, the how we are able to, stick to the agenda within the time. Yeah.
All right. Thank you for that. And I just got some idea. I'll come back to you. I'll come back to you.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Dipali. And then we have Nikhil and then Leo. Yes. Dipali, over
Yeah,
to you. Yeah.
yeah, thank you, ma'am. So, along with what Rahul and Ravi said, I think a facilitator should also be unbiased and should be welcoming to all the opinions, or should not be inclined to only one side of the story, and should be able to summarize and conclude at the end so that something meaningful is able to come out of it for everyone.
Wonderful. So you're saying no bias and should be able to get points across and be able to have good summarizing skills. That's what you say, right? Yeah. Thanks. Very important. Otherwise, sometimes only one set of people can hog the entire discussion. And then the case study discussion goes somewhere else altogether. Yeah. I think Leo raised his hand, Pratibha and Mr. Nikhil. Over to you. Between the three of you, decide who speaks first.
I'll go first. Yeah.
All right.
So one thing which I feel to be a great facilitator in facilitating the case studies is like pushing the participants to think on it. So having more and more thinking questions, because it happens that at a certain point of time when they are thinking, when they are discussing, they are stuck and they are not able to move ahead. So as a facilitator, it becomes very important you throw some questions to them and push their thinking limits. So that they reach some consensus, or probably they shift their momentum and have a different thought process. So having those throwing those thinking questions to the participants becomes very important. That would be for a facilitator perspective. And to make good case studies, I think one would be having extraordinary stakeholder engagement or stakeholder management, because the cases come from the organization itself. Now, we being a part of a support function, we are not much aware what is happening in the operations. And the participants that we deal with majorly come from the operations itself, right? So having number one, understanding of the operations, and number two, great stakeholder engagement with the probably your managers or your service delivery managers, something like that, so that you can extract the case studies and accordingly tweak as per how it fits your sessions.
Very true. Very, very true. Doing a lot of research. Thank you. Thank you for that. And your points are very, very well taken. Over to you, Leo, or Pratibha, whoever wants to. Yes.
Pratibha, go ahead, please.
Yeah.
Thank you, Leo. Ma'am, I'm agreeing to all the points that has been said earlier, but there is one thing that I would like to add, that as a facilitator, you need to avoid the boundaries that you are having when you are reading the cases, right? Because sometimes when we are into case study or in a situation, we have something earlier going on our mind. So we should overcome that barrier, and we should be a good listener, so that there are sometimes participants come up with new points which we haven't as a facilitator thought about. So there should be a good listening, a critical thinking ability, and analytical skills. Now, again, while analyzing, it's not like we are analyzing just a few participants, because in a room, I will not talk from the organization point of view, but from the students' point of view. If there are 10 to 12 students, it's our job to make sure that not only two are speaking, So there should be always a new kind of bowl that is being thrown out so that all the persons are bound to speak. Now, how will they be bound to speak? When you give them something in common that would relate to their personality, related to the case, then they will start speaking up. This is first thing. And second is, how can we make a good case? Its first thing is observation. A good case could be really related to the organization or anything when we observe what is going on in the organization and we can practically relate it, because I think that practical application hits harder than any theoretical or any imaginary status. So it's better if we take things that is actually going in organization, stating it as an example, not directly but through some examples, and relating it with them so that they can conclude in a better way.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. Very valid. Leo.
Ma'am, before Leo goes, I would just like to read through the comment section, if it is okay.
Okay. Yes.
Leo, if you don't mind. Okay, so in comment section, Sriram have
No problem.
mentioned, thanks Leo. Sriram have mentioned, so the person should be a good listener. Ankita mentioned observation skills. Abhishek Kashyap mentioned we must be creative and understand current situation. I mentioned strong thought process. Ajay mentioned 360-degree world view. And then Rahul mentioned 6-hat thinking to discuss different prospects of the case. And Jugal Kishore mentioned we should be a good navigator. And Ramesh mentioned avoid the conflict and discussion. That's it. Thanks.
All right. Beautiful. Beautiful. See, she's actually taken the trouble to summarize what was written in the chat box. Thank you. Thank you for that. Excellent. Leo.
Yeah, very quickly, wonderful points from everybody, and thanks, Payal, for that summarization, because otherwise I would have missed out on the comments also. Just a thing that came to my mind very recently, I've been conducting a series of behavioral trainings for some of our grassroots level staff, and that too from service department. The thing that and this is, we were using a series of case studies. The thing that stood out starkly for me right now is the choice of language. I have actually had to spend a lot of time reconverting everything, because these cases were tried and tested, and they were used earlier on with a certain higher level of staff. So with a higher level of staff, they were very comfortable. Even though the case used to be written in English, we used to explain it sometimes in Hindi or the local language. But what I discovered over here was when we were running these cases down the road with these people over here at this level, the language in which it was written had to be simplified to use a mix of English and Hindi in the colloquialisms.
Okay.
So, when your question was, what are the skills required to make a good case study? I never considered this as an important part before this, but I have recently discovered that if the people don't understand it in their own context, the context is what I would like to point out. So, while these were tried and tested, they were successful, but language has to be simplified. That's all. Thanks.
Very true. Excellent. One, you're talking about the choice of words and the language, and also in terms of whether it is relevant to these people at all or not. Sometimes, even as trainers, we tend to, we feel that we have to show off our communication skills.
Ma'am,
And
sorry to interrupt. Can you ask someone's mic is on?
I think it is Miss Rupali. Yeah, Miss Rupali, I'll mute her. Yes. Okay. Yeah. I think Leo has raised his hand again. Is there something that you want? One, when people, we as trainers also sometimes, or as facilitators, think that we have to be very eloquent. It might just go. The other day there was a training on gender and posh, and although the facilitator, I mean, not here, but in a different platform, the facilitator was speaking excellent English. But I somewhere realized that although these were all educated and qualified management graduates, they were not ready to listen to that kind of Shakespearean English or pure English. They wanted a smattering of Hindi. And that's where also, like you said, for certain participants, for a certain level of facilitators, You have to understand the lingo that they speak in. And
Ma'am,
adding, yes, Payal. Yeah.
Sorry to interrupt. So, at just this point, basically,
Yes.
this point I have just explained a few days back in some event when I was speaking. So, for example, which I've taken was Shashi Tharoor. When he speaks, he have a very good vocabulary, but it is not possible for everybody to, connect with him because he have very high level of vocabulary which he uses. So it is very important when we are training or communicating, because he's a politician, so basically you have to connect with the people. So if he have the ability to speak in a general term in a very generic language or a way so that people can connect with him, it is far more better. So it is very much important in training perspectives as well, because everybody is coming from different and various backgrounds. So using very simple words and very live examples really helps in training rather than using high vocabularies.
Thank you. Thank you so much for that, Payal. And yes, it is a matter. In fact, coming back to, using thanks for using the simple language in a case study. It's also important, and I think that is something which I will come back to a little later when we look at skills of a facilitator. We'll take a break now for some time. But in a case discussion, what is the role of a facilitator? That's also important. As a facilitator of a discussion, I should not be talking at all. I shouldn't be talking at all. And not even like I can see that Ramesh has put in a point over here. Everyone feels that facilitators should stay neutral. Very true. Facilitator should stay neutral, and for some time, the facilitator for a long time has to remain silent. Avoid giving your point of view. Avoid taking sides in whatever is said. Encourage participants to speak. Encourage those who are reticent. Sometimes, people who have good communication skills, and generally those who are aggressive and more gregarious, tend to hog a lot of talk time. And many times I've seen with students especially, there are barriers with regard to opening up in a discussion, especially in a large class of 30 to 40 students or a little more than that. Sometimes, if you have a rival in the class and that rival speaks, some students tend to just, retract and withdraw into a shell. And it becomes a very big problem getting them to open up. And especially when a case is evaluated, then it becomes all the more, imperative that you help them come out of that shell and express their point of view. And like Leo said, sometimes even simple English is a problem for people. So when someone starts speaking in English, you feel intimidated, and then you go into a coil, you recoil even more. And that's something we'll discuss. Am I allowed to take a break? Am I allowed to take a break? Can we take a break over here, friends?
Absolutely, ma'am.
Yeah.
Yes, yes.
Yes. So what we'll do is we'll stop here for about how much? 5 minutes, 10 minutes? What kind of a break do you want? Or 15 minutes? What is the time?
15 minutes,
15
ma'am.
15-minute
minutes.
break. So have a cup of tea, my friends, or whatever
Yes,
it
I have
is. Yes.
breakfast, ma'am.
Okay, then I'll have my breakfast too, and we'll come back after 15 minutes.
Right, ma'am.
It's 10:05. We'll meet at 10:20. All right, by
Right.
my
Sure, ma'am.
laptop.
Thank you. Okay.
Okay, ma'am.
Hello, is there any break going on? I cannot hear any voice.
Yes, Yogesh. So there is a break for 15 minutes till
Okay.
10:20. So
Okay.
the class will resume at 10:20.
Okay, thank you so much. Because I was just I gone out for taking some calls, so that is why I could not hear anything.
Yeah,
Thank you so
not a
much.
problem. Yeah.
All right.
Hello. हम मैं उधर बात करने लग
Hi, Payal. Something that you want to say?
No, ma'am.
Okay, I thought your mic's open, so I thought maybe you want to say something. All right. Shall we restart?
Yes, madam. Yes.
All right. Yeah. So where did we stop? We looked at what is who's a good facilitator, and I think we again relook at that. Then I'll also show you another case. Okay. I've kept a lot of cases here open on my desktop. Okay. Now, skills of a good facilitator. We said one, if you're actually going to, I don't have a slide for how to be a good case study facilitator, but ideally from my experience of having conducted case studies, and like all of you also have, let's summarize by saying that one, you need to develop a lot of insights into the case yourself. So ideally speaking, you should be reading the case very well, and as a facilitator, you should have your own set of derivations and your own set of conclusions, recommendations, insights ready with you in a notebook. So your entire notebook and your framework should be prepared before you hand over the case to the participants. Ideally, give it to them 1 week in advance. If you can't give it to them 1 week in advance, if you're not done your homework, you can give it to them at least a day early or at least 1 or 2 hours. Sometimes what I've experienced is, even if you give it to them 2 days early or 1 week early, participants will still not read. How many of you have experienced that or do that? You do a lot of pre-handout and you do give them the case in advance. Do people read and come?
No, not always.
No, nobody reads. And then the next morning you have people, scurrying to look for the case. Half the people walk in without the case. And nowadays, which I feel is, I don't know, you tell me whether it is a blessing or whether it is a disadvantage. People tend to use the case on a phone, and they open it on the mobile phone and they're reading into that small font. That's the way the new generation works nowadays. Sometimes you have to keep quiet. You can even carry them, when they carry it on an iPad or on a laptop, still you can see that. But then you give it to people, you will still have to give people time to read the case. And if they are not prepared, give them half an hour's time, or give them around 45 minutes, if that be it, to go through the case, write down their notes, and then be ready for the case discussion. All right. So that's one. As a trainer or as a facilitator, your set of notes can be with you, but avoid the temptation to speak when the group is talking. Remain silent, remain in the background. You can keep a notebook next to you to jot down with name what people are talking about, what each one is saying. It's very important as a trainer to also make eye contact with nervous speakers to give them the reassurance that I am with you. Say whatever you want to. Your language is not being questioned over here, but your ability to look at a particular viewpoint is what is more important. So therefore, encourage participants to say something, and to overcome that barrier of, oh my God, how can I open my mouth? So that is where, if you start off with people, and once people have spoken, then you can bring in your point of view through a small lecturette. I hope we understand the difference between a lecture and a lecturette. Over to you, friends. How would a lecture be different from a lecturette embedded inside a case discussion? Someone would like to say something? Okay. A lecturette would be where, after everyone has spoken, you come in only for 3 minutes. You come in only for 2 minutes. Summarize what was discussed. And while people are talking, just like I was putting all this into a chat box, if I had a whiteboard open over here in front of me, I should have done that at that point of time. Your whiteboard, whether it's in a classroom or whether it's online, can be full of whatever points were taken across. And you can actually take a picture of that and you can send it to the participants, because that becomes a good summary for people that can be converted into a case summary, which can later on be used for evaluation. Yes? This is something you can do. How are you going to decide who spoke well and who did not speak well? You can actually ask people to write a note after the case study discussion and send it across to you. So this is just one. Having the right kind of questions also important. Ideally speaking, I had already prepared the questions. I should have asked you to prepare the questions for a case study. All right? Okay. Now, friends, a little bit of concept, since we are learning training theory and training concepts. What are the different types of cases that have been written about in theory? And you can as such see, okay? Basically, a case can be divided into two types of cases. One is the intrinsic case, so which has a research question. And you want to get more insights into a research question. For example, I might say, how do I use, okay, let me try using a marker over here. Let me try this. And what I'm saying that you want to find out through a case study, is demonstration a good method? Is demo a good training method? Okay, so that is your research question. And you want to write a case on that. Therefore, you want to get more insights on whether demo is a good training method. You want to go to various organizations or various trainers and ask them to share their experiences. You may also want them to conduct a few demos, which I'm going to get you to do very shortly. All right. Now that is your research question, and you want to build a case around that. Now, you may also have collective case studies. Now, what would you mean by a collective case study? A series of case studies or several cases which you want to compile together. How many of you watch Discovery Channel? Do we watch the Discovery Channel? Yes, no? Okay,
Yes, madam. Yes, very
yeah, we do.
frequently.
We do that, right? Now, in that, there used to be a series. I've forgotten the name of that. But they have there is a series which talks about airline accidents. And what were the causes for those, major air crashes that took place. So case by case, they have done research on how did each one of these happen. If all of that had to be compiled into one major case study, we are talking of series of accidents that happened. Now, all of you remember, do you all remember the Manesar Maruti plant, the riots that happened? Do all of you? 2012?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
The violence that happened in Manesar, where workers agitated and they walked in with hockey sticks. And
one of the
they
HR managers burned alive.
Yes, not the HR manager, and he lost his life. Okay,
Life.
now that was a major. But I'm very surprised that nobody wrote a case on that. Okay? Now, that is that is an incident, an event which happened. There could have been other events and other incidents also similar to this. Now you had something at Toyota Kirloskar, which happened because of violence by the workers on some payment issues. Then there was something else where the the Tata Nano plant was attacked. Now, a series of such events or workers' agitations compiled together and compared can make a collective set of cases. Are you getting this? Okay. Now that becomes your collective case studies where you're looking at workers' agitations across plants and you're putting that and you're deriving comparative analogies from all of those. So these are your two types of basic cases. Now let's look at how Yin has divided the case study method. One, he says the first one is the exploratory case method. What would you mean by an exploratory case method? It's something that asks what is something. It asks the what of something. Friends, what would you mean by an exploratory case study? Any insights and any examples from your end?
Asks. Hawthorne case study could be one example.
Okay. Okay. So it's asking what. Okay. And it's giving you a complete idea of what something is. Let's say, for example, have you heard of ESG? Or that's the latest that people are talking about right now. Okay. The latest concepts. What is the latest in management currently? Again, I'm the only one talking. Tell me.
ESG is environment, social and governance.
And ESG, environment, social governance. Now, a lot of people still don't know what is ESG. Have you heard of something called DEI, which is happening right now?
Yes,
DEI.
ma'am.
Yeah. Can someone tell me what's DEI?
Diversity, equity, and inclusion.
Okay, diversity, equity, and inclusion. Okay. Suppose you want to explore what is ESG or what is diversity, DEI. You may want to go and explore this concept by looking at various research papers. You may want to go and explore whether DEI or ESG is being implemented in 3 or 4 organizations. Okay, to understand what is DEI or what is ESG. Then it becomes an exploratory case study. All right, or you want to know what is an FGD. You want to know what is the demonstration method. You want to know what is a case study. So you're actually going and studying this, you're taking instances of that and you're putting it together. That becomes an exploratory. Now, typically for an exploratory case study, you have to go deeper into it. You have to go deep into it and get all the information that you have about this particular thing and put it together in a semblance for people to read about and talk about it. A lot of case studies are written about rural projects, if you understand, rural training, rural development, or women's development. These are all these going to, you're trying to find out what are the problems, right? Second one is when you're talking of a descriptive case study. When you say descriptive, it actually describes or tells you step by step how something was done. All right. It explains that this was the process. Let me give you an example. I was trying to find that case actually on my laptop somewhere. But way back when Ratan Tata did a succession planning exercise. And who did he choose for succession? Who did he choose to be his successor? When he did succession? Yeah, Cyrus Mistry. Okay. Now, when was that? Which year? Can someone, which particular year? This was in the early 2000s, correct? And then there was a complete, study done on who should be Ratan Tata's successor. and a series of whatever was, through a process, it was decided that Mr. Cyrus Mistry should take over. Now, there is an HBR case on that. The name of that case is succession planning, where all leaders were also asked to decide who is going to be taking over after them. So there are a lot of cases on succession planning, and that is where you would call it a descriptive case study to describe how an entire process was done, and it gives a complete background. It also tells you the scenario as it is. And the third one is where you are looking at an explanatory case study. Now, explanatory it looks at what, how, and why. Okay, so how was something done? And an explanatory case study will also tell you why it was done. For example, if you're looking at a case which looks at why did I spoke about this the National Geographic cases where they are talking about why did the airline crashes happen. They're going into the black box, they're conducting research. Now, why would they do something like this? When you say how did something happen and why did something happen, what is the use of this?
So it shouldn't happen again.
It should not happen again. Thank you for that. So you're saying that it should not happen again, and we should not go into a series of accidents anymore. Okay, friends, I'm just trying to erase this. Let me see how can I do that.
Ma'am, just do Control Z.
Control Z will go. Okay, just a minute. Still not going. No.
Ma'am, what's the full form of YIN in the chart?
Actually, Yin is a researcher. He did a lot of research on, he's the person who studied the case study method. His full name also, I'll give you due course of time. Okay, so he was the one who spoke, and he has divided the case study method into exploratory, descriptive, and explanatory case. Okay. Control Z does not seem to be working. Can someone help me?
Then select each one of them and manually delete it, ma'am.
Manually delete them. Okay.
Now select that box, ma'am. You're inside the box. Select the box itself.
Okay, this box.
Yeah, just press delete on your, yeah.
Oh, thank you. Should not disturb the rest of the class. Just a second. Okay, we'll continue with the discussion, and I'll continue to do this. Okay, now what makes okay, it's because I'm talking about the case. Let's look at the other types of cases also. Here I was looking at types of cases. Okay, yeah. Now, what is a good case to use? And I want to here stop sharing the PowerPoint and share this particular case study with you. I hope it's very long and you will not be able to read the whole thing. This is something that this is an HBR case study on working patterns at Amazon. And this is a proprietary case, so I cannot share it with all of you. But if you'll actually look at this case, The title of the case is Amazon.com and the human cost of fast shipping. This is actually a case on Amazon about how Amazon workers are made to work overtime and are made to work under very abject conditions. So somebody's done a research on what are the costs. Today Amazon is lauded everywhere for being such a fast shipper, and you can press a button and you can have all your grocery and everything coming home to you. And earlier Amazon was a bookseller, if you remember. But there is a cost, because as an HR, workers are made to work extreme hours. They are not given breaks. They are not treated very well. And this case is actually about that. So you can see that, and now I'm explaining step by step so that all of you can see. One, it starts with a quote. Then you have an entire, I'll enlarge this a little so that you can quickly go through this on how people are made to pick up 250 products per hour. And a worker who packed the products was given a target of packing at least 200 items per hour. So the targets are heavy, workers not being treated well. Then you have how people, also how environmentalists and workers unions were pressurizing Amazon to increase hourly wages of workers. As you can see, there's a background note over here on Amazon itself. Background note on Amazon and how it started its operations and how it then grew to what it is now. Then you also have the concept of the case. I mean, why this particular case is in dysfunction at Amazon. So how did the workers' problem started? How newspapers are also hounding Amazon. You then have, how other workers join in. So the entire history of the unrest at Amazon is being explained over here. And how other companies also started exploiting their employees just because Amazon was doing it in terms of number of weeks. And then, as you can see, how it was declared a dangerous place to work in due course of time. Now, this is a case study. And if you ask me, but before I ask you, driving it, if I ask you under what category would you, and now you can see that how Amazon problem has spread to the rest of Europe. Under what head would you put this case? Come on. Under what head would you put this case?
Explanatory.
Explanatory, and why? Why explanatory?
Because first it is introducing the problem, the problematic, and how it is happening, why it is happening, its repercussions. Like it's a 360-degree view of the whole thing. Yeah.
Yes. So you're looking at, an entire comprehensive in-depth analysis at the what, how, and why it happened, and then providing solutions. How would you conduct such a case? If I had to ask you, how would you conduct such a case? Friends, if you had to be a facilitator, what would you do? Someone who has not spoken earlier? Come on. Yes. Preeti Nainwal? Yes. How would you conduct something like this?
Yeah, ma'am, this case has to be given to the participants at least 4 or 5 days in advance. And during the discussion, groups have to be made. And then the topics or the points discussed in each group should be noted by the facilitator. So it should be, say, 3 to 4 groups should present and then they should discuss. That is my point of view.
All right. Okay. Thank you. Thank you for that. Thank you so much. Yes. What else? Someone else. Someone who has not spoken so far. Come on. Come on.
Ma'am, may I?
Yes, Shivaji.
Yes, ma'am. If I conduct this, I will do this thing like in a class. If I create 4 to 5 groups, so I will divide this case study in 4 parts. I will divide one part to each group to understand that thing particularly. Then as a whole class, then we can discuss. So it will reduce time as well, and it will increase the productivity of understanding, we can say, of the case, and then we can discuss it in a good way.
Okay. So both Preeti and Shivaji said that you would actually divide the class into groups and give it to them to discuss. So is that what Preeti also said? Preeti Nainwal?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Okay. So one technique is where you divide, you give the case to people in advance, and you get each group to present one part or discuss one part of it. Any more other techniques of doing it? Chalo, let's brainstorm on how else would you do this. I can see that there's a chat box, message, 6 new messages. Yes. Come on, how else would you do it? Sajay? Yeah. Who's that? Who's talking?
Ma'am, this is Ritu. Yes, ma'am.
Hi, Ritu. Yes. Yeah.
Ma'am, I was thinking that the six thinking hats, that technique could be used over here, where we
Okay.
can have different aspects coming from different people, that how they are looking into the case and giving their ideas. From that, we can have a conclude, like a statement or a solution kind of thing.
Okay. Thank you, Ritu, for this. And actually, I wanted to conduct the 6 thinking hats today. What I'll do is I'll share a case with all of you. I'll put it in the chat box. I'll see how I can do that. And in the afternoon session at 2 p.m., I would want to have this case discussed through the 6 thinking hats methods. Can we do that?
Yes, ma'am. That would be
Okay. So participants can decide which hat they want to wear and they can look at it from that angle. So this is something I want to do. So you may want to, Bhakti. Bhakti is very happy. Yes. All right. Yes, Bhakti, we'll do that. Thank you. So when you said you can use the 6 thinking hats, what else? What else? Definitely. When you need to move the people out of boredom, it's always nice to put people into different hats. How else would you do it? How else would you do it? Any other thoughts? Come on. Abhishek? Bhakti? Parul? Ankita?
May I, ma'am?
Yes, you may.
Dipali here.
Hi, Dipali.
Yeah, so some questions can be prepared prior to the
Okay.
discussion, because just merely presenting the case is not enough. We need to discuss, like, gain something out of it, okay, to be
Okay.
applied in real life. So some
True.
questions, open-ended questions of discussion could be prepared,
Okay.
which could be, from the case study only.
All right. Thank you for this. And this is exactly what we were coming to. Now, do you want me to show you the case again? Can each one of us, if not at least 2 questions, at least 1 question, can you prepare, which can be you, which you will, post to the case discussing group to invite discussion in the class. Shall I reshare the case?
Yes,
And this
ma'am.
time I'm going to ask
Yes,
people,
yes.
I'm going to invite people to share their questions. All right. So I think all of you have seen the case. I'm running it through all of you all over again. Okay. Yeah. Where is the case? I'm sorry. Okay. This time I'll go a little slowly. You can take a look. It's a proprietary case. I can't actually send it to all of you. Therefore, I'm just running it through all of you. Prepare your question. Okay. Amazon.com.in and the human cost of fast shipping. I'll run it for around 2 to 3 minutes. Give you time to read it through and slowly scroll ahead. Please do speed reading. So this is the introduction. What was I saying? Fulfillment Center, workers in Scotland. Pressure on Amazon to increase hourly wages of workers. Background note. This is a background note on Amazon. How Amazon overtook Zappos. Number of employees. Then the dysfunction aspect at Amazon. How Amazon was demanding too much of its white-collar workers, long working hours, late night shifts. All right, how workers had to enter and exit large, huge airport-style security gates and did not even get washroom breaks. Okay, so then we have 30 individuals. This is a quote from an employee who worked at Amazon. It was doable with 0 breaks and no chatting with co-workers. Not allowed to stand and talk with your co-workers. If you go too many times, if you get caught too many times chatting, you would get a point on your scorecard. After 5 points, you would have to talk to your superior. All right. Okay, so these are all people who have started complaining. KPIs at Amazon. Okay. Dangerous place to work. Okay, more or less the case is talking about, it's explaining the entire scenario. So soon Amazon had to take action to overcome all these complaints and to show that it's a good employer. Okay, friends. I'm stopping the share here. Over to you. I'll give you 1 or 2 minutes. Can you think of at least 2 intelligent questions that you would pose to your group of learners when you give them this case for discussion or for...
Ma'am, to start, can I come in?
Yes, please. Wait. Ankita, yes. Yeah, Ankita. And this time,
yes.
Anyone who has so far not spoken, may I also request those of you who are generally vocal to just pause for some time so that others get a chance to speak. Over to you, Ankita.
Thank you, ma'am. The first question that I can think of is to start for the group discussion is to ask the group of learners if the working conditions at Amazon, after reading the case study, if the working conditions at Amazon, do you think it's favorable or it's unfavorable? So that would be my opening question to them. And then to defend their point of view. If they say favorable, unfavorable, whatever, the second part of the question would be to defend their point of view.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you for that. You may want to put that question in the chat box. Yes. Okay.
I'll do that, ma'am.
Yes, yes. Who's the next? Come on.
Yeah, ma'am.
Parul here.
Mahesh here.
Okay, Parul and then Mahesh. Yes.
Thank you.
So, ma'am, I think the first question is going to be that I'll ask all the participants to share their observations after reading the case study. So, firstly, assembling all the observations and thereafter leading into the discussion. Whatever are the major points, like even if we consider six thinking hat, the first point is to put all the right information on the board, and then we can navigate the course of discussion.
Very good. Okay, so this is Parul. Uh, Fine. I have something for you. Yes. Okay.
I
I
have
think.
a
No,
question.
wait. When we take Mahesh and then we take next person.
Madam, the first question I would ask the group was, what do you think? Why was there unrest?
Okay. Why the unrest?
Yeah.
All right.
As
Good.
as people start opening up about it, I would then ask them about what were the conditions they were facing.
Okay. Okay. What conditions? So you
Yeah.
start with a why and then you go to a what.
What?
Where?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Put your question in the chat box. Yes. I think after somebody else wanted to talk. Yeah.
Yeah,
please.
I had a question, ma'am.
Yeah.
So, like, what drove such a big multinational company having the richest person as their CEO to handle human beings, like to handle their employees like that, treat them like slaves, like machines? You know, just like it used to happen in World War time. So, like that, what drove them?
Okay, what drove them? What drove them? So you're going asking a philosophical question here. Yes, very true.
Yeah,
At,
kind of.
at a higher level. Wow. Okay. Yes. Who's next? Come on. Come on. Okay, I can see Mahesh has already put it. Who can I invite? Yes.
Ma'am, this is Pratibha.
Hi, Pratibha. Yeah.
We can talk about the hygiene factor, the importance of hygiene factor at workplace. Do you think that this is important? What are your
Okay.
take on that?
Very important from HR point of view, na? Yeah. Hygiene. Okay. Very good. Come on. Who else? Shrinu, have you put your question? Shiva? Sheshagiri?
May I, ma'am?
Yes, Ms. Bhakti.
If this kind of working conditions would be there, do they think they would be able to retain their employees and their satisfaction?
Okay, so employee retention related, definitely. Very good. And will people leave? And if people don't leave, why do they not leave? That's your thing, right? Thanks, Bhakti, for that. Well done.
Ma'am, I will go with the descriptive method where I'll, ask participant, the step by step what situation they have, co-worker have faced, and accordingly I'll shortlist. Instead of shortlist, I'll jot down all the points, and then I'll go with the conclusion or probably the outcomes.
Okay, okay. Thank you. You will use the explanatory or the description method. Thank you.
Yes.
Descriptive method. Okay.
Madam, I want to pose a question to the class.
Please.
Can productivity be the parameter for gauging the success of a company?
Okay, class, the question is to you, not to me. So please answer him.
Can you repeat your question?
Yeah, I said productivity, is it the correct parameter to gauge the success of a company? In this case, productivity, I take it in terms of high sales, more market, capturing of the market. I mean by that.
No,
okay.
In this case, because the staff members are being literally mentally, in a way, they are being harassed. So this will not gauge the success of the company because, and not in long run, they are going to be with the company because it is hampering their health also.
Okay. Okay. Good question. And see where it is leading the discussion. Wow. Okay. Wow. Who else? Come on.
I would like
Yes.
to add into it. So, if I have to just give a yes or no answer to whether the productivity leads to the success of the organization, the answer would definitely be no. because there are other multiple parameters involved, especially like your employees are at the core of the organization. Whatever happens revolves around the employees. And when we say employee well-being, that again gets bifurcated into physical well-being, mental well-being, and emotional well-being, right? So when you say that the productivity is very high, but your employees are not keeping well mentally, emotionally, and physically, you are expected to have a good amount of attrition, new people coming up. And although you might have done like probably 10, 50, 20, 30% of profit in this particular quarter or year, it is going to dip down the next year because the people who were doing that productivity are moving out of the organization. So simple answer to this would be a no. There are other parameters, and like there have been some of these studies that I've read in the HBR as well. Uh, uh, so a lot of focus is now on empathy as well. Empathy index, global empathy index is something which people are considering at like the Fortune 500 companies. They take that also into consideration when they see that it's not just a productivity, but it's the empathy index as well, which helps us to see where our organization is going.
Thank you, Nikhil. And although I couldn't see the tally, I came back and realized I began to recognize your voice now. Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks. So we have Ramesh, we have Joe, we have
Yeah.
Sampati. Over to you. Come on, one by one, please.
May I, ma'am?
Yes.
Yeah. If we are saying that the working condition are not favorable, then we may ask from the employees what kind of improvement they are expecting for improving their performance and motivating them to continue with the organization with good moral. What are the improvement areas they are expecting from the organization?
Wonderful. So looking at solutions. Yes. Nice. Yes. Joe.
Ma'am, in this the discussion, they have to identify what are the problems and they need to compare what are the appropriate solutions, and they have to find out the ideas or various solutions for that problem. So in such situation, for the washroom problem, we can ask them like how many breaks or washroom facilities they are getting in their working hours, and then is it the required amount number of washrooms are there available for them, and how can they provide solution for that problem? They can discuss and they can find out.
You're looking at statistics, how and how many also you're going
Yes.
beyond. Thanks. So we have Sampati and then Pratibha Singh.
Yes, ma'am. As the discussion, we have understood the cause and what are the problems. So I would like to put my question as I would like to ask them to think as a CEO, putting into his shoes, and where they can have the generate ideas, where they can run the business and manage the employee problems and what are the working conditions, and then can put their ideas for the matter.
Great. So you're talking of leadership aspect. So we have leadership
Yes,
and
ma'am.
people management, right? True.
Yes, ma'am.
Thanks, Pratibha.
Ma'am, for the question that is productivity, if it is a great parameter to test a company, the first thing is like organization like Amazon and looking at the competition. Everyone is looking for fastest delivery. Okay, so as from a company's point of view, if I am in that place, I will also look at that the fast delivery is being done, and now for that the workers are being exploited. Now the situation for this is like I'm a great fan of Hotspot experiment. If I'll tell you, we should divide the workers and put them into different groups first. Earlier, how they are doing, one group will do the work like that only, and the second group we will give them breaks, we will give them whatever the requirement is of the workers, and we'll provide them with that. Now we will see the productivity, whether it's increasing or decreasing, or the time is being taken more, how it is going on. Because in India, if I especially talk about Indian condition, we have blue collar, white collar jobs, right? We don't have a scarcity of people, I'll tell you, cheap laborers, because people are ready to do work at any cost. Unless and until they get into that situation, they are stuck, then only they said that, oh, it's very difficult to work. Otherwise, if you say them, I'll give you 250, there are people who are ready to work at 150, 100 rupees, like this also. So we have abundant of labors. So from productivity is not only one parameter, but we have to test in various situations that how these workers are coming out and which particular situation they are giving their utmost performance, so that we can engage good environment as well as productivity. Because for a company like Amazon, Flipkart, and anyone to work for them, it's very much important that they are into fast delivery. If we look from company's perspective,
Okay.
this is what I think. I don't know. I might be wrong.
No, definitely, definitely. So you've given your insights, and you have given constructive solutions. Thanks. Anyone else? Okay, this time I'm going to ask someone, and then I'm going to Anuba Parashar. What question did you write? Harshada, what was your question?
Ma'am, if Anubha have actually written in the chat box and she have written HR or any level of hierarchy should have given heads up to management on this kind of harassment consequences.
Okay. So that's a solution. Now,
Right.
friends, yes, thank you so much for this. And I hope everyone, all of you, my request to everyone would be that whatever question you prepared and whatever was your insight on this, please put it on the chat box. And now look at the amount of content that you have. Look at the amount of content that you have for this particular case, which has been generated out of the heat of reading the case and the discussion. My question now to all of you, and this is somewhere I would want, how would you handle those who did not speak or did not write in the chat box at all? These are people who have been listeners but who have not opened up in the discussion. As a facilitator, what would you do with this group of students or participants or learners? What will you do with them? Come on, someone who's also conducted a case study discussion earlier. Can you tell me? What would you do?
Ma'am, can I speak?
Yes, Ankita, definitely.
So, so the thing that I would probably say is first apologize, because these people could not be very comfortable speaking. So first apologize and then tell them, since they've not contributed, I would put somebody on the spot and then call out their names, give them a heads up, or give them a direction to speak it, and then hear from them.
Okay. So I'll take your last point. Yes, you would actually, look at them, address them, and give them what kind of questions did you say? Can you come again?
And give them a direction that, what is your thought on this particular aspect? So if we say, lack of washroom breaks, so what is your thought on lack of washroom breaks? I'm sure that they would have thought of something, but just then giving them a direction so that they can feel comfortable speaking about it.
Wonderful. So you're talking of open-ended and close-ended questions or directed questions to give them an idea. In many cases, sometimes you need to be with them and encourage them, saying, well done, well done, well done. So that people, yes.
Ma'am,
Yes.
Mahesh, as a facilitator, if I see people are some group of people are not responding, what I could also do is I could give them some examples, as to how they can frame the question.
Okay.
So that they get a roadmap or a framework, and then encourage them to speak.
Wonderful. And if you, have done this earlier, you would see that at least 1/3 of your group of learners would be like this.
Madam, I will add on to this. Madam.
Yes, please. Yes,
yeah, Ajay here. Ma'am.
Yeah, Ajay.
Yeah, like you can give this case study well in advance and link it with the assessment, so that they can do it in their private time. Do an assessment, do a case study, and put it prior to coming on to the for the discussions or where the case study is being explained. So that way, what happens? Everybody gets involved in it individually. He knows that there is an assessment going to be done on this, and also the facilitator in advance, he knows who has got what to speak or who's got what idea. So that way, he can also make his assessment and accordingly conduct his class.
Okay. So that's a great way of getting, yes. Yeah.
I think that's how the organization in in which I work, it did that way. And it worked very well and also gave an insight into that person who's making that case study to assess that person at higher position.
Okay, okay, okay. So you're speaking out of live experience. I can see that 3 people have raised hands. Please take turns at talking. So is that one Leo, Ajay has already spoken. Parul or someone else? Ankita. Over to you. Come on. Let's talk fast.
Yes.
Ma'am, just a very quick one. Sorry, I just wanted to know the name of the person who asked us this question. Sorry, I missed that. That's my only question.
Ajay.
Okay, thank you very much.
Yes, that was Ajay. Yes. Shiva wants to say something and Ankita wants to say
Ma'am,
something.
what I'll do is I'll prepare some question from my side, the basic questions, and then those who not answered yet, so I'll throw to them that questions, and they have to give the close-ended answers like yes or no, something kind of. I'll target to that, that area, and accordingly I'll run.
You want to do it right now? Or you want time to prepare your questions?
I'll take a time, some time to.
No problem. So tell us when you're ready with your questions.
Yeah.
Then we'll post those. Yes. Shiva.
So, ma'am, I want to address this in a different way. Like, in a class, there are different kinds of people. Some of them are easily able to communicate, impromptu, talk about anything. There are some who have thoughts, but they take time to align their thoughts. So, in such situation, what I would do is I would, before the break time, I would identify these people and I will create some questions or case study for them. I will ask them that, this is your break time. You can think and ponder about it. Once you are back, I will also give you 5 minutes more to discuss and brainstorm with your team or groups if I've prepared. And then you will, and then you can, respond or share your thoughts on this. The reason is the same that, some people might take different timelines to reciprocate, create their, wordings, how they want to present. Maybe they have thoughts, but the communication aspect might be lacking, or else they want to take some time to, rehearse what they want to say. So, yeah.
Yes. I'll take 2 points from your delivery. One, you said that people take time to develop and people can, use it at their own pace. And you used a very beautiful word called rehearse, right? And that is so important, uh, especially when, now, how does the case help people to develop language and articulation? So important. Even nowadays, recruiters come with cases or case studies instead of coming with plain group discussion topics. Have you heard of this? Nowadays, they're coming with very, very tricky case studies and they pose those cases in the group discussion, in the elimination round or the shortlisting round before the interview. And for students, it's a 3-step thing. One is where you have to understand what is in the case, then you have to process that and put it into words. Sometimes, if you, like Leo had said, that language becomes a barrier. If you're not used to speaking in English or in any other language for that matter, processing that and converting it into words and then speaking out is the second level. And the third level is, and where which I was going to come at right now, is the analytical or the critical level, which will also bring in something called ethical dimensions. We're also trying to look at in what direction does this candidate's mind think and how does he process this information and what will he do in a ethically tricky situation. And this is where this is so important in terms of giving people time to think about their ideas. But my question to you, is your name Shiva? I mean, because what do I call you?
My name is Shivanjali. But
Shivanjali. Okay. So Shivanjali, and this is not only for Shivanjali, this is for the entire class. Please tell me. In a scenario where a candidate is supposed to give an answer quickly or look at it in 5 minutes time, how does this idea of giving something in advance for 24 hours work? I mean, then would it obstruct people's ability to think on the spot? Over to you. Anyone can answer this. Friends, yeah, Ajay has raised his hand. Are you getting my question? You know, when you give something to somebody 24 hours in advance, it gives time for processing. But if you give something to someone on the spot, say, take 5 minutes, now let's discuss the case. What is the difference?
So, ma'am, I would like to add to my previous thought that, it is good that we want to also develop the skill of talking on the point. But then again, giving the 24 hours time is best for such people. But if you want them to develop this skill as well, the first thing that we will have to do as a facilitator is to make the class aware that, no answer is a foolish answer, make them comfortable to talk into the class. And if even if they fumble, we support them by adding our points, appreciating and acknowledging their points, just to make them comfortable. If one person starts and there are few more in the class who are same like that person, they can start feeling comfortable with this condition or environment in the class, and then they can start speaking. So yeah, it's about how the facilitator, interprets this.
Thank you. That was an excellent answer. Thank you so much. And so empathetic. I can see 4 people have raised their hands. Ankita, Dr. Deepti, and Payal. So someone who's not spoken so far. And Ankita, are you ready with your questions? Is that why you raised your hand?
No, I was to your question, ma'am. The point is the case study is being used as an assessment tool, and the fact that the skill being assessed is quick thinking, then yes, it doesn't make a point to give it in advance because that's the skill and we would be going against that particular skill being assessed. However, if there are other parameters that are being assessed and it's important for people to prepare well in advance, then it makes sense to share this case study beforehand to the people coming into the session.
Thank you. Thank you for that answer. Dr. Deepti.
Good morning, ma'am, and good morning, everybody. According to me, I joined in between, so I don't know what was the context, but yes, case study, if it is given 5 to 10 minutes before, or even if it's given half an hour to be decided, so at that point in time, it will be very short-sighted. It will be more like a comprehension where you're actually answering the questions within that case study. But when you actually talk about, ma'am, you want to say something?
No.
But when you actually talk about something on a long sided, if I'm doing a leadership, development program or something on those lines, at that point in time, I would be more keen on giving them a ample time to do a research, maybe in the classroom, but something where they could do a SWOT or something, or maybe a day before. If it's a 2 days intervention, then a day before, you kindly work on this and then get back to us.
All right. Thank you. Thank you for that. So you're looking at 2 ways, merits and demerits of both the ways of looking at it. All right. Yeah. I could see that Joe also wanted to say something. If this is something different, then yes. Otherwise, can I move on with the concept? Friends. Yeah. Okay. So what are we saying? I think all of you answered these questions. I'm just going to summarize. One, you want to pick what makes for a good case. One, you have to bring in both the elements, emotion versus thinking part. All right. Now, for example, there was a case on the Bhopal gas tragedy, which we used to use in an ethics class. It had both the elements. One, because it was something that all of us had seen, right, in our own country when, gas leaked and people had to run for miles and kilometers. Even today, people are suffering from that. There is something that it has. Then also the thought process. It can't just be an emotion case. It has to have some degree of strategic thinking that it should have, for people to use both gray matter as well as heart matter. It should give difficult choices to people. Only then people's, cognitive skills would be improved. open-ended interpretations. Now, this is very important. When I say open-ended interpretations, as a facilitator, I have to control my urge to give the right answer. And the minute you tell a speaker that no, your answer is wrong, and what I'm saying, and there is a final answer. There are no final answers in a case study. A case discussion means that everybody can express. Now, the level at which you express is where a person gets marks. Somebody can just narrate one or two instances or read out from the case. That is also okay. Someone might synthesize all the information and provide a high level, higher order overview. Even that is fine. And that is where you can base your assessment of people, and that's how you can pick up people. But never discourage people and never allow other participants to discourage a speaker. That happens, Some smart person might say, hey, what nonsense are you talking? Especially in a physical setting. Somebody can snigger, somebody can laugh. No, that's not done. And setting the right climate, setting a warm climate to talk is the responsibility of us as facilitators. And that's where we play a role. I hope we're getting that. Okay, that's what. Bring in nice elements of practical things as well as concept. You can't just have a case in thin air. It has to bring in some concept and theory. And what beautiful concepts all of you brought in. Thoughtful, ethical thought provocation, right or wrong, or at least the ability. Most cases, when banks come in for selection, they provide tricky cases, and they are looking to see how the candidate actually, handles this trickiness. They want to see ethics, because in banking it means money, and money means ethics, right? And it has to be related to the subject matter. Just because you find some good case study and you bring it and it's not connected to the subject, then it's of no use. I saw a very beautiful case. In fact, I discussed it on chocolate making in Africa, and the abject conditions under which the cocoa beans are actually plucked, and it's so sad, you won't feel like eating a chocolate again in your life. Okay? Especially, and yes, I would like to tell you that, you know what a facilitator did? Before he started the case discussion, friends, listen to this it's very interesting. This was a case on the abject treatment which workers or the cocoa bean pluckers are put through. They're sometimes whipped also if somebody eats one of those beans. And he gave everybody a chocolate. He gave everyone a dairy milk, and he said, eat it, have it. And everyone was very happy. So all of us had that dairy milk. And then he gave us the case study. He showed us one video of actual conditions, and then he started with the case discussion. And at the end of the case discussion, he asked us, will you eat this dairy milk ever again in your life? So that's how you're building emotion and you're building strategy. Okay. I'll quickly run through this. We're talking about what is the objective of your case. Is it that you're trying to make a generalization after analysis of the case? Ideally, it should be that there should not be any final conclusion. Secondly, can you look at similarities? If this accident happened here and because of this reason, did another accident also happen because of a similar reason? If there was a gas leak in Bhopal, where else was there a gas leak in any other country or in any other plant? So you can also bring in other cases, even if they are not given to the students at that point of case. And how would a case study become strong? When you are able to bring in lots and lots of information within that specified time and get people to talk about it. Sometimes a case can, be discussed only for half an hour if the group is not interested. And sometimes it can go on for 2 hours. Lots of documents, lots of evidence, and encourage people to look at the fine print and discuss the statistics also. Like all of you said, we can also do it through FGD's interviews also. All right? Okay. I'm not looking into this slide, but why should we use the case study as a training tool? Just like you said, to develop thinking skills of people and to develop communication skills and to help people get confidence to speak up in a group. That's very important. And when you're relating it to real life cases, then all kinds of education becomes more interesting than have a teacher tell you things. Right? Okay, friends, this is for all of us, since I think all of you would be required to write a case as part of your dissertation. I've shown you the cases, but these are the sub parts or parts of a case study when you actually write it. And I'd like to spend half a minute on this. A good case, when you write, it should have an executive summary or an abstract, ideally an executive summary. It should have all the introduction. The introduction should give the entire, introduction of the company or of the situation, of the concepts, and then, the introduction itself should be self-explanatory. You need to specifically have a background. Without a background, you cannot have a case study. Then you have your detailed analysis, after which you may wish to write in subparts. What are the alternatives? What are the decisions that were taken after the entire experiment was conducted? Then comes your recommendation. You, as an expert case writer, would come here, and if it is a plan that you have conducted, how would the implementation be done? You need to have a conclusion because you're writing it down, and then the references. Similar to a research paper, but when you're writing a case, you're writing about something that is actually happening. You're writing about a project or about a process. You're not writing about other people's research. All right. So that's how you're casing. Okay. A little advanced into different kinds of cases. Okay. A pilot case. What would you mean by a pilot case? Here again, I'm not talking. Over to you, friends. What's a pilot case? Who can I invite now to talk?
Ma'am, may I?
Yes, yes.
Ma'am, I think a pilot case is something where there is no actual case, but we are developing, taking our own thing and developing a case and presenting to the group so that they can have a thought where they can have a solution for that. That kind of thing is a pilot one.
Yes, yes, very true. Example, you want to conduct a training, need an identification of the entire organization. All right. You can't go to everybody, so you start with a small sample. You decide to take one team or you decide to take one group of people and you conduct a pilot study. And you want to publish the results of that. That becomes your pilot case. Okay. Or you want to conduct a series of training programs, but to start with, you conduct the first 5 programs and you want to put the analysis, you want to put the delivery, you want to report the effectiveness of that training program. That becomes your pilot case. All right. Thank you. Thank you. Who said this? Who gave this answer?
Ma'am, this is Ritu.
Thanks, Ritu. Thanks, Ritu. Excellent. Then you have, like I've already discussed, the exploratory case, where you're starting one at a time, step by step, in-depth study, and you explain, you go deep into the process. That's your exploratory case. All right. Then you have the illustrative case discussion, descriptive, also known or It tells you, it builds a picture in your mind. It builds an entire scenario. All right. And that's where I would put the gas tragedy, the Bhopal gas tragedy case there. I would also put something like a complete talent acquisition study or a process or a competency mapping study, an entire process. And you're describing, giving details, building a visualization with illustrations, with matrices, or with tables. That becomes an illustrative case. You're also giving the financial outcome of doing let's say a competency mapping study or a training needs identity. You're showing how this exercise led to revenue generation for the organization. Then it becomes an illustrative case study. Okay. Again, critical instance case, something that was very, yes, ma'am.
In such situation, what is the difference between exploratory case and illustrative case? Because
See,
both
okay. An exploratory case is trying to see what all happened. There's a lot of information. Okay. And you're studying something. When you're looking at an illustrative case, you may actually also want to bring in scenarios. You may actually want to speak to a few people and put in their cases. You can also you show the like I said, cause and effect. You're doing a pre and post analysis, so you're actually showing what was somebody's competence before the training program, what was the skill level, and after the training program, where has the skill level reached. You're depicting that in kind of numbers. Okay.
So are we adding real-time experiences in
Yes.
illustrative?
Real-time experiences, and also I would say some degree of data, real-time evidence, some degree of data which supports. ये किया, इसके लिए ये हो गया, and see what are the results.
Thank you.
Okay. In the army, they conduct so many such experiments, where they actually see. There's a beautiful case which I had done during my PhD, which I had studied, which was on, this is since all of you are trainers. Inside the cockpit, a lot of communication happens through non-verbal communication because the noise is so high. And especially in emergency situations, the pilots have to communicate with each other through eye contact or through sign language. It was such a beautiful case study on, they studied how this non-verbal communication helps in averting critical situations. And they had actually done a study on that, and that was given through illustrations or realism. Are we getting that? Okay.
In the same, if you see the examples which you have given,
are the same. Yes.
No, the examples are the same. And what I'm just trying to bring out is from the same these things, example or an incident which has happened, we can make it as an explorative case or an illustrative case or a critical incident case from the same.
Yes. You can decide how you want to treat that subject.
Which aspect you want to bring out.
True. If you want to turn it into a scintillating operations case, then you are looking at, the operational part of it. If you want to bring in the people angle, you focus more on what happened to people, how they are suffering. Are we getting that? Now, especially in the Bhopal gas thing, the accident happened because the knob was not, somebody had left one of the, what's that called? I'm not a very technical person, but one of the levers had not been fastened, and one of the
The valve was not closed.
Yes, the valve was not closed. So that becomes an operations case. So that's how you can convert a case into either an illustrative, an exploratory, or a critical instance, or like I said, cumulative cases, where you're collecting a set of past cases, putting them together, and small instances which lead to variety of discussion. So people might get bored of reading or talking about the same incident. Then can you bring in some variety, some different flavor, some spice by collecting various? And that's why nowadays you'll see that in a case study discussion, many of them write chota instances. This is something actually we can do when we're looking at personality training. Good personality versus not so good personality. And that's when cumulative cases can help us out. All right. Where else was I? What else do we need to cover? Yeah. So with that, we've actually, covered the case study discussion. This can go on for the whole day, but then we have other things to look at also. I have a request for the afternoon. We are going to be looking at the demonstration methods. And I give a choice to any one or two of you who would want to volunteer to give a demo by opening up your window on any one process. You can use your home setting to show us something. Ideally, I would have said show us something in the kitchen, but IS3 wouldn't allow me to do that. So can you demonstrate something to all of us?
Duration, ma'am?
How much? 7 minutes or 5 minutes? 5 to 7 minutes? If need be, 10 minutes.
Ma'am, demonstration of what as specific?
Of either any one process or of any one thing, okay, that you can do. Now, what is a demonstration? A demonstration is where you train your people on how to do something. Typically done on the shop floor or maybe even for a software training, let's say Excel training or anything where you're actually keeping the screen open and teaching people how to do something. A demonstration can also be on etiquette, dining etiquette. You can give us a demonstration on how to wear a tie or how to use a scarf in a corporate setting. I leave it to you, but if you can do one demonstration. Come on. You want to listen to concept and theory in the afternoon, or you want to make your session more interesting?
I can attempt two Excel formulas if that's fine. So I can demonstrate two Excel formulas, which is index and match and
okay.
lookup. This is something that I've recently learned. So
okay.
I can demonstrate that for the group here.
Definitely. We would love to learn from you. And you will share your Excel screen with us, right?
Yes.
Thank you so much for that, Ankita. Thank you. And we will be waiting for your questions also, since you said. All right. And yes, one more person. Come on. What are the other things? Yes.
Ma'am, I will do, but I need to think and I'll come back.
No problem. Take your time. We have about an hour to decide what we want to do. But please give us one demonstration. What else are we going to be talking about in the afternoon? Okay. SWOT is something that we'll be talking about. I'm not going to spill the beans right now. But SWOT is something that all of us have done earlier. Therefore, we will do our own SWOT in the afternoon. How would you like to do that? Yeah, let's do a SWOT exercise for our own selves and then we look at it. All right, fine. So, any questions? Anything? Before we take a break? I have 3 minutes more for 11:45.
No, ma'am.
Okay. Does this solve all our questions? I mean, issues with. Okay. Can one person? I'll give a small case, and I want one person to conduct a 5-minute case study. conduct that case, be a facilitator for the case study, get the class to talk. Would you like to do that? If time permits. Can we ask Cleo to do that? These people are planning to. Okay, I'll leave that open for the afternoon class, but I look forward to the demonstrations. Shall we conclude here?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Yes,
So,
ma'am.
am I expected to end the meeting yeah, because there's a fresh link for the
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Have lunch.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.